A peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
I could just see the people driving on I-95 right now, all the way around Broward County, Palm Beach County, and Martin County, and what's this? It's 3 o'clock. Where's the news? Who's this guy? What is going on WNN 1470 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time, on this 24th day of October, in the year of our Lord, or the year of Allah? No, it's not the year of Allah. It's the year of our Lord, 2012. But if you're one of my Jewish friends, it's 5777 or something like that, I believe. In any event, who is on the radio as the person is just about to hit the little dial on the car to switch to something else, but they're too interested in knowing what's going on? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a little bit of a surprise for you today as you're tuning into WNN 1470, broadcasting out of Boca Raton, but going from North Miami Beach. How do we know that? We were in North Miami Beach last night, and we were listening to the signal even as the sun was going down, which shows that 50,000 horsepower works pretty good, 50,000 watts. Well, you're in for a surprise. Viewers, and listeners. Drive time viewers just getting out of work, you want to get home and, go have a cold one and relax and not look at the news. Well, you're in for a surprise, all you drive time folks. We're going to bless your life. We're going to heal you as you're driving in your car. They go, is this a Christian thing? No. We're going to heal you from your misunderstanding of political reality. We're going to heal you, provide the balm of Gilead to help you understand national security issues. You see, you've tuned into some serious stuff here. We'll present it in such a way that it's interesting, it's informative, but we're hitting the heavy issues, the things that matter, the stuff that impacts your life and your loved ones' lives. My name is Tom Trento, Trento. Write that down, okay? Tom Trento. And we're broadcasting, as I said, a couple of different ways. Number one, we're on the radio station, WNN 1470 out of Boca Raton. As you know, or as you will know, you could stay with us if you live in Fort Pierce and you're just leaving and you're driving home to North Miami, hour and a half ride or so. You can stay with us the whole ride. Or if you're living in North Miami and you want to go to Fort Pierce, now why would anybody want to go to Fort Pierce? Because the U.S. Navy SEAL Museum, the UDT SEAL Museum, a must-visit place for every patriotic American on the face of the earth. You got to make it to Fort Pierce, to the UDT SEAL Museum sometime in your life. It is just an amazing location. And for you new listeners and viewers out there, what's this guy talking about, viewers? I'll tell you about that in a moment, listeners. But for you new listeners out there, we, as I said, deal with national security issues, foreign policy stuff. And we happen to be very good friends with many in the DevGru, SEAL Team 6, or many in the SEAL, traditional SEAL community. SEAL, S-E-A-L. C-S-E-A-R-L, land. SEAL is an acronym. SEALs operate in the C, S-E, in the A, air, and in the L, land. That means they can jump out of a plane, go into the water, come out of the water, kill you before you know it hit you, get back in the water, and then they fly back up into the airplane. It's actually pretty cool what they can do. Thank God for the U.S. Navy SEALs and the other boys and girls out there on the front line. Well, we're in a war, as many of you know. We're fighting according to this administration, which we don't like. Let me get this right out, straight up, for you new listeners. You're tuned into our program, TrentoVision. Tom Trento, I'm your host. Have a few people here with me. Mark, you'll get to know Mark, J. Mark Campbell, and CJ, Cheryl Joy, you'll get to know her, and Mike, you may or may not get to know. We got Joe in the control booth. You know Joe if you're a WNN fan. Not speaking for Joe. He's part of WNN. But the TrentoVision team, we don't like this administration because we know quite a bit about the national security issues affecting this country, affecting Israel, our best national security partner, particularly in the Middle East, and the global issues of extremists, or whatever this administration refers to, with the extremists of the extremists doing extreme stuff, extremely out there. So that's the bad guys. The extreme guys extremely doing extreme stuff, okay? Go try to fight that war and win it when you don't have a friggin' idea who the enemy is. The enemy is Muslim terrorists. Very simple. They're Muslims, they believe in Islam, and they believe that terror, that is, killing your opponent and striking fear in their heart, is a good methodological approach to the kinetic element of warfare. What does that mean? They want to kill you. That's what that means, okay? We fight the jihadis on the cultural side of the global war on terror equation. There is a global war on terror. The equation divides quite nicely. On one side, you carry a gun, and we don't. On the other side, you carry a pencil or a microphone or a camera, and you expose the Islamic jihadis as articulated in the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States of America, in Boca Raton, in Florida, or the organizations, their subsidiaries like the Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE, or ICNA. You will become familiar, listeners and watchers, with all of these acronyms, initials for long terms, bottom line, bad people. You'll become familiar with all of that, as we now will be with you for 3 wonderful driving hours. In fact, you're going to love what we do so much, you're never going to want to get out of your car. You're going to get to your destination and go, I'm staying in the car. I'm going to just drive back to where I came from and come on back. But we have a solution for that. You can actually download an application on your smartphone. If you don't have a smartphone, then you are probably the antithesis of smart. Maybe, maybe not. But you can download the app iHeart Radio, H-E-A-R-T Radio. And then, as you're parking your car, you can touch iHeart Radio, go to WNN in South Florida, search, and boom, 3 to 6, you'll be listening to us. And then you can jump out of your car, plug that thing in your ear, and we're with you. We are with you till 6 o'clock. You see, we have been on the 2 to 3 hour for the past 2 months or so, but we decided to crank it up because we are in, ladies and gentlemen, a determinative moment, a critically important moment for all Americans. And that moment is 13 days from today, November 6th, 2012. Many of you may have already voted absentee. Most of you, we hope everyone votes. And we hope President Obama gets less votes than Governor Romney, because as we're going to explain, through national security issues, this president has failed miserably. He's ill-equipped. He has the wrong philosophy of understanding how to fight an enemy. The Middle East is in flames. We have 4 dead Americans. Oh, Osama's dead. Well, so are 4 dead Americans. We're going to explain all this stuff in our 3 hours each day. And if you're driving your car and you can chew gum while you're driving at the same time, you could probably place a phone call and actually speak to the TrentoVision group team here at WNN 1470. And you may even speak with me. How about that? is our number. That's all you have to dial, 888. It automatically comes right to us. No, you're going to have to dial a few more numbers. Just checking to see if you're awake. 888-565-1470. 888-565-1470. And when the phone rings, you say, Joe, put Trento on. I got to... Yeah, start yelling. In any event, we're actually very nice people here. We'll deal with you with kid gloves, but as the lead-in says, we're going to pulverize your bad ideas, but clean out your brain a little bit on national security issues. That's our whole thing. Now, who are we and why are we here? Well,
Where to start?
Your heart of hearts, those of you listening, and I've referred a couple of times to watching. For those of you just tuning in on your radio to TrentoVision on this beautiful sunny day, little balmy day, Boca Raton, you ought to know that while you're listening to the show, there's a camera broadcasting a video signal to the world. We are simulcasting this 50,000-watt radio station through live streaming video on the Internet. Our Internet site is TrentoVision, one word, TrentoVision.tv, and you can actually watch the show. So why is that important? Well, we will have, on occasion, we will have guests. Some will be in the studio. You can see who they are. Some will be Skyped in. What's Skype? Skype is magic. It's absolute magic. It's stuff that takes a person and disassembles their genetic makeup, sticks it in a little jar, shoots it to the studio, we reassemble it, and you can watch them on the monitor while you're looking at them on your computer. How about that? We're going to Skype them in. That's pretty cool. And we're also going to play various little pieces. We're going to play Mr. Donald Trump for you shortly. As you may or may not know, the Trumpster, Donald Trump, had a nice announcement or interesting announcement at 12 o'clock. And we think, notwithstanding the mainstream media's ridiculing nature, which is easy to do when it's Donald Trump, and I got to tell you, every Saturday night live sketch performer is beating up the producers there, going, "I'm doing this bit, man. I'm doing this bit. I got to do. I'll look like Trump. I got to do it. I just got to do it."
I mean, this is made for TV.
Well, it really is, and we're gonna actually show you. It's about a 2.5-minute video. So for the viewing audience watching, you'll be able to see the video of Donald Trump at noon today making a grand announcement. But for those of you driving, we will never forget you. Any video we put up will be video that you can also listen to the audio track. But we want to whet, W-H-E-T, whet your appetite, and then have you go home and watch our show. All of them are archived. They're all put up on the TrentoVision.tv site. So you listen in your car, go home at night, and you can watch all the crazy stuff happen. That's the way this works. Well, a little bit about myself and our team. Let's see. We'll make this quick, because the easiest way to learn about myself, Tom Trento, you can go to our sister organization, sister website, The United West, theunitedwest.org. Has nothing to do with Alan West, okay? People get it confused sometimes. Though we love Alan West. He's a tremendous friend, good friend of ours, wonderful congressman, true American patriot, and way in the lead up there, but still needs everybody working for him in Martin County, District 18, the new congressional district. The United West is an organization. We basically, our mission statement says that we are dedicated to 3 primary objectives: defending the United States Constitution, we think it's a good thing, defeating Sharia-compliant Islam. We make a distinction between a human being who happens to choose or be born into a Muslim family. That's a human being, and it's wonderful, and anybody can believe in anything they want. But when they accept the political doctrine of Nazism in World War II, when a German was born into a German family. That's wonderful. Whatever religion they believe, that's fine. But when they accepted the political doctrine of Nazism, they de facto became an enemy of the United States of America. It's the same today, ladies and gentlemen, 50, 60 years later. If a Muslim chooses to live their Islamic faith out without accepting the doctrines of Sharia, the political system dedicated to the destruction of Israel, of America, of the West, then fine. Free country, believe whatever you want. If you choose to accept a political doctrine that's antithetical to the United States Constitution, you, by nature of your choice, become an enemy of the state, an ideological enemy. It's very simple. The United West fights the ideological enemies of the United States when they adopt a Sharia-compliant methodology, become Muslim terrorists, or members of the Muslim Brotherhood and these organizations. And number three, we believe that Israel is America's number one, before Britain, before Canada, before Mexico, before all these other countries. Israel is America's number one national security partner, because the greatest threats, get rid of Israel, wipe Israel off the face of the map. You want to see all hell break loose in the West and in the United States when the bulwark of defense for America is removed, purely from a pragmatic or empirical perspective. Israel necessarily is America's best friend. They're our forward operating base in the midst of 300 million enemies, most of whom are enemies of the United States of America. The jihadis want America to disappear. We're the great Satan. So we believe at the United West in the defense of the state of Israel. That's what we're all about in our counterterrorism work. TrentoVision is the communication side of things. Right now, our specific goal, and for those of you just tuning in at 20 after the hour, you're going, what's going on here? Who's this guy? What's this noise all about? We thought there was going to be kind of a newsy, feedy thing going on. Well, we jumped ship. The show TrentoVision was on 2 to 3 every day. We've now moved, starting at 3, ending at 6 o'clock. 3 cool hours with you. That's what we're all about. And our primary goal, as you're watching or driving, is to provide sufficient information to the open-minded individual to make an informed decision 13 days from today so that you vote intelligently. I'll translate all of that. Our goal is to have you defeat President Obama based upon national security and other issues. That's our goal. The way we do that is communicate information and dialogue with people who may disagree, do some investigations, put information out there, and you become informed in your decision-making.
And you also have a book, which is?
Yep. Part of our work at the United West and on these issues includes hanging around with pretty smart people. And we're average people that work very hard. But there's some people in the world that just, their brains are like whatever. We happen to hang around with some of them, and I bumped into a few of those folks, and they asked me to be one of the co-authors of a fascinating book that's entitled Sharia, The Threat to America. There's 19 authors. I'm one of them. And if you go to theunitedwest.org, to the bottom of the page, you'll see a promotional material about a book that will, if you got to get one book to understand this word that's being thrown around all over the place, ladies and gentlemen, Sharia, it's actually a definite article in front of it, the Sharia. If you need one book to explain its history, its meaning, its application by its adherents, its enemies, all of that, our book, Sharia, The Threat to America. You see, it's not entitled Muslims, The Threat to America. The threat is not a Muslim person per se. You could have a Muslim person, and many are just great Americans. They're wonderful people. When you adopt this doctrine called the Sharia, then you got problems. Our book explains all of that. Sharia, the threat to America. So let me tell you what we're going to do today.
And some of those co-authors, and you kind of blew over who those people
Cool
were.
people. There's some cool people there.
We have Frank Gaffney. We have Jim Woolsey, director of the CIA, who's one of the co-authors.
Jim Woolsey, yeah, he was under Clinton, no less.
Also, we have General Jerry Boykin, Lieutenant General Jerry Boykin, commander of Delta Force.
These are all authors of Sharia.
Admiral Ace Lyons of the Pacific Fleet.
He commanded the Pacific Fleet.
John Guandola, former FBI. Claire Lopez. There's about 19 of them.
I'm in good company, man. I'm in good company.
So the work is definitely well vetted, and it's a comprehensive analysis of it. And so, with some color, it has also a New York Times best-selling author.
Who is that? Which one is that?
Grand Jihad.
Oh, yeah, there's so many of those. Andy McCarthy, a former prosecutor that put the blind sheikh in jail, and that this administration will let out of jail in the near future. The way it looks. So there's a very, we do serious national security work. That's the bottom line. For the new folks just tuning in, you think, what kind of show is it? That isn't, hang with us. I think you're going to see that we deal with current events that have national security implications. And right now, because so many people want to hurt America and hurt your families and your loved ones, the issue of who the enemy is, how to identify them, how to defeat them, is foremost on most Americans, the minds of most Americans, particularly after this Benghazi thing. So here's what we're going to do today. In our first hour, we're going to go look at Donnie Trump, the Trumpster there, and his interesting announcement that he made at noon today, which, as I said, is being ridiculed and being prepped by SNL right now. But we're going to dive down a little bit and kind of deconstruct what I think his goal is. The guy is a marketer, obviously, but he's not an idiot. I think he's going somewhere with this, and we're going to kind of tell you where we think he's going. But more so, we're going to tell you why what he did has important application. What Trump did today by making this announcement has important application to your life, whether you're listening or watching. And if you're watching, TrentoVision.tv, welcome to our new viewers. If you're listening, hi guys, great to be riding along with you if you're listening in your homes. But that's what we're doing the first hour. Second hour, we're going to take a little trip to Delray Beach, Florida, not too far from our Boca Raton studios. Because you see, yesterday, was it yesterday? Yes, it was yesterday. Our president spoke at the Delray Beach Tennis Center, and we had one of our intrepid investigative reporters go to the Delray Beach Tennis Center yesterday morning and bring our weapon, which is a video camera. And he set up a video camera and just interviewed some of the people exiting. On the second hour, we're going to show you a very powerful video of a group of President Obama supporters, fans, confronting...
Wonderful people. Absolutely wonderful people.
Confronting almost violently, you'll see,
friendly violence.
A couple of Romney supporters. There was a couple of people there with a Romney sign, and this group of about 150, 200 Obama supporters did not like the Romney people being there with a sign and walked over the street, across the street from the tennis center to the library, and we were there with our cameras. We'll show you that in the second hour. And the gist of the second hour is President Obama's desire to divide America. He wants to divide America between Saul Alinsky's the haves and the have-nots, and he wants to divide America along lines of color. And if you think that we're stretching this, tune into the second hour. We have Reverend O'Neill Dozier will be with us as our guest, and he will help and he is an African American. He will help explain the video that you're going to listen to or see, and then we'll discuss the desire that President Obama has to divide this country along racial lines, particularly to get reelected. If you think that's not true, what do you think happened in Des Moines, Iowa, with the Des Moines Register, where it was an off-the-record comment, and the Des Moines Register said, we don't think we're going to let this off-the-record comment out. It could hurt President Obama's chances for re-election. Well, it's out, and we will tell you all about the off-the-record comments regarding races and the race card that President Obama is playing in our second hour, 4 to 5 hour. And then in the 5 to 6 hour, we have our good friend Dr. Andy Bostom. Andy Bostom is an expert on Islamic jihad, on national security issues, and we're going to dive into the horrible, horrible debacle, the bad situation that at the consulate in Libya, a term no one knew about up until September 11th of this year, Benghazi. It's not an Italian actor or anything, Benghazi. It has nothing to do with a person. Benghazi means City of Holy Warriors. It's a coastal city on the northwestern coast of Libya, and it's the death place of 4 brave Americans. And this administration, in the estimation of many, has blood on their hands. But we'll deal with that issue, which was not properly dealt with, ladies and gentlemen, in the debate a couple of days ago. We'll deal with that in our last hour. So if these things are of interest to you, that means you're a sentient, alive, interested person in what's going on around the world, and you're a talk radio listener. That's why you're moving around. We got it. We got all kinds of stuff. And we will talk with you, 888-565-1470. My name is Tom Trento, the host of TrentoVision. And we're here with J. Mark Campbell, CJ, Mike, and ready to rock and roll from in our drive time. It's great to be here. We're very excited. Aren't we, CJ?
I just thought of something really cute.
I can't hear you. You got to put that microphone.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, speak into the microphone. Yes.
Speak into the microphone. When you said the videos are our weapons, they are weapons of mass instruction.
Oh.
Weapons of mass instruction.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, should we instruct the folks a little bit?
I think we should. I think we should let Donald Trump start.
Yeah. Are we ready for Donald? Let me set it up a little bit. Donald is sitting in his, looks like his Upper West Side office with the skyline of New York behind him. He's got his proverbial pink tie on. A lot of static, yeah. That's good, wait. And it's really a very cheesy.
I tell you what. I tell you what. Donald, call me for video, okay? Please, whoever shot that video, lapel mic, please. You got millions of dollars, you can afford a lapel mic.
Yeah, if you're watching at home on TrentoVision, we're shooting through a relatively inexpensive camera, through equipment that's been around the block a little bit, and our production here is like 50 times better than Donald Trump's video announcement of his earth-shattering information. They're really bizarre.
I mean, it's really bizarre, but...
All right, well, here we go.
Right,
let's see what he has to say.
Transparent president in the history of this country. There's never been anything like it. We know very little about our president. I'm very honored to have gotten him to release his long-form birth certificate, or whatever it may be. Now, many, many people have questions, and very serious questions. I have a deal for the president, a deal that I don't believe he can refuse, and I hope he doesn't. If Barack Obama opens up and gives his college records and applications, and if he gives his passport applications and records, I will give to a charity of his choice, Inner City Children in Chicago, American Cancer Society, AIDS Research, wants a check immediately for $5 million. The check will be given within 1 hour after he releases all of the records so stated. He'll be doing a great service for the country if he does this. If he releases these records, it will end the question and indeed the anger. Totally satisfied, but the American people will be happy, and you know what? Those charities will be very, very happy. Thank you, Mr.
President. You're very welcome, Mr. Trump. If you want to comment on Donald Trump's offer to the President of the United States, give us a call at 888-565-1470. And as I understood what he said, he offered the President $5 billion.
$5 zillion. $5 zillion.
$5 zillion.
He's going to snap that offer up really quick, I'm sure.
Now, did the people at home see that or not?
They heard the audio of it.
Oh, no. I apologize. I thought you guys were going to see the video. You'll have to go to the Internet and find it. But it's
all the major news
have a
link.
I mean, you got to go watch it because you're going to see it on Saturday Night Live, and it's going to be played next week on the news stations. His mannerisms and the way he just performs is just very interesting. But let's discuss his offer. What are your thoughts?
Oh, President Trump's going to snap it up in a heartbeat. He's going to release all his records, talk all about his relationships with his past relationships, everything. The floodgates are just going to open wide up for it.
Also, I think he's known for his charitable giving, right?
And he's known for his openness and transparency. He's so known for his transparency and everything. Yeah, there should be no problem.
How many millions of dollars has he spent keeping all of his records a secret?
Oh, that's right. He did do that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he should tell Trump, look, you reimbursed me for what I spent. You got $5 on the table.
No.
You know.
See, Trump didn't say he would give it to Obama. He said he would give it to Obama's charity.
Yeah. I got the Obama charity.
Would be.
I got the Obama charity over here. You just write the check over here.
Yeah. He would donate it for a mosque to be built somewhere.
All right, let's dive into this. Let's take a serious deep dive into this. Is Donald Trump just a whack job, just a billionaire crazy whack job with nothing better to do? The phones are ringing. Yes, he is, of course.
Well, why does it have to be mutually exclusive?
That's true.
It could be both.
That's true. What do you think? What's going on in Trump's head?
Well, first of all, everything's all about Trump. Okay, we all know that.
He's lonely for some media time.
But,
I don't know.
But it's not going to. The liberal left are just going to destroy him on it. They're just going to classify him as a showboat, grandstanding. But in actuality, the seriousness of the subject matter is that Obama has not released any records whatsoever of him. He spent millions and millions of dollars to bury these records, and where's just drawing attention to the fact that these records are buried. It does have some value, but nothing's ever going to come of it, obviously.
Well, the nice thing about being Donald Trump is that you pretty much don't have to care what anybody attacks you on because you can insulate yourself from everything anyway, right?
Mike. Two.
And no, you don't need to film me.
No, I have shy folks in here. No, two, Mike, two. It's very disconcerting for a viewer to hear a voice floating around out there. They like to connect them to a human being. So we're getting a 2-shot here is what we're getting.
Yikes.
And a
okay.
3-shot.
Oh, excellent. We have Alan and Mort calling in to weigh in on Trump.
Oh, okay. We'll, you see, I think, and I'll lead into our callers. This is Tom speaking. I think this could be a brilliant move on Trump's part. But I want to hear first from Mort. Hey, Mort, what do you think about Trump's move offering $5 million to the charity of your choice to release your records, Mr. Obama?
I had not heard that. I just called in. He asked. he's offering $1 million to
$5 million.
5 trillion, 5 billion, 5 zillion, or something like that.
Did you see the video or listen to the video that we just played, Mr. Mort?
No, sir. I was on the road.
Okay.
I just got in.
Okay, then we're gonna have to hit the TrentoVision eject button on you. Okay, so we're gonna pause you out for a second. We're gonna go to somebody we hope knows what we're talking about. We have Alan.
Then if that's the case, I'll send you a drawing on a blank piece of paper.
No, we're gonna put you on. We're gonna put you on hold. And we're going to go to Alan. What are your thoughts on Trump's latest adventure here?
I was very excited about that, so I phoned him and I emailed him as well. I have my 4th grade report card available, and I paid $1 million for that. So, I don't want to make light of it. I was divorced. I have a copy of my divorce papers. I'd like to fax over to him if he finds anything interesting in that. But I think this is going to be something that is worthless. I think it's going to just distract from the campaign, and I think this is a bit of buffoonery. I like him. I think he's got chutzpah, but I think this is a bit of buffoonery on this part, which will not help Romney and will go nowhere.
What about this? And if anybody wants to speak with Alan or myself, you can call 888-565-1470. We're discussing Donald Trump's amazing, life-changing announcement today at 12, and the way he promoted it. And the announcement simply was he'll give $5 million to President Obama's charity of his choice if he will release his college transcripts and papers and all of that. So
what happens if his favorite charity is the United Trinity Church of Christ in Chicago?
Yeah, well, I don't think...
said he was going to build a mosque with it.
Yeah, I don't think Trump cares. CJ had an interesting point. She said earlier that, Trump, because he owns half of the universe and couldn't care less about what people think. Well, as we're analyzing what he's doing, if he really doesn't care what people think about him, then why would he do? He doesn't need the attention. He doesn't need the money. Try to dig down a little more deeply, because I think there's something here. Why would he do this? He doesn't like Obama. He wants to defeat Obama. He thinks there's a way this can. Let's make believe, Alan, you were sitting at the table with Trump and he asked you, what do you think of this idea? How can it work? Alan, tell me how this idea could work. How do you see it working?
The only way it could work is if he does have some information that he is withholding, because there will be silence on the part of Obama on the 31st, the deadline of the 31st.
Yes.
He will absolutely stonewall and stiff arm Trump. So Trump might very well have some information that he could divulge in the last week of the campaign that would somehow pull a plug on the Obama campaign. That's the only thing I can think of, because if October 31st comes and the deadline is there and there's no response, and people say, well, Trump, put up or shut up, and he has nothing, he looks like a fool. And I don't know if he's a man who wants to look like a fool.
Well, there's actually two plays here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is Tom Trento, TrentoVision.tv, WNN 1470. It's about 20 minutes to the top of the hour on the East Coast, 3:42. We are now broadcasting every day, the TrentoVision team, from 3 to 6 drive time in South Florida, on the Internet, on TrentoVision.tv. It's a little later on the West Coast. You guys can pick us up at noon every day, so we're afternoon drive time in California on iHeartRadio, and a little later for our friends in Europe and Israel, 6 hours away. But Alan, there's two significant possible plays here. I don't think Trump is someone that just threw his whole hand, laid his whole hand down at 12 o'clock today. So I think you came across a fascinating theory. Now, first of all, your theory would require Trump having the financial resources to unleash a team of forensic and investigative reporters with a blank checkbook to go track down everyone in Obama's life or in his school and offer them all kinds of money for anything that could derail this presidency. Do you think he has that level of interest and the quality of money?
Of course he does, and he was absolutely outspoken a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was even a month ago, about this possibility. And I think by this time he may have accumulated some information on his Indonesian passport, his Pakistani passport, his name when he was Sotero. He may have some information there, but Trump is no fool. He may be holding something in abeyance, and he may very well put it out on October 31st. I hope there's no link to the Romney campaign if he should fall flat on his face. I wouldn't want Romney to be inveigled in this at all.
Just for the sake of our audience, and this is a new audience for the most part, I'm sure the people from 2 to 3 have carried over with us, but this is our first day, Alan, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, starting at 3 o'clock, going to 6. So we'll have you in the studio in the future, and even Mozart also, because we have a lot of time now to deal with these issues. But the new folks who are driving and watching for the first time, they're not aware that we do a lot of investigative reporting, and the reporting enables us to analytically look at stuff that maybe the Huffington Post doesn't look at when they see this sort of thing coming out from Trump. But the two parts for our audience, and I sent out an email today, and we did a little promotional email. We said TrentoVision is radio that is intelligent, investigative, and what was the other one? Entertaining, investigative. What did I say? It was informative, investigative, and entertaining, but starting with an I. And then I wrote, hey, we're alliterating, starting with an I. In any event, for the audience's part, Trump didn't just do this for no reason. If he does not have further documentation that can hurt President Obama because of activity in his past, then it may be a sufficient play in and of itself to say, what are you hiding? I could give your favorite charity in Chicago $5 million. I'll write the check right now, and those kids that don't have food or whatever get food right now. My guess is, Alan, he's going to increase it to $10 million in about 2 days, and then maybe $15 million. And as the number gets bigger, just like with a lottery, the country's attention is going to go, well, what's this guy hiding? $20 million bucks. And if he ain't caving at $10 million, he probably won't cave at $20, $30, or $40 million. And Trump, to derail this president for $100 million, probably would do it, simply because of the money he'd save in Romney being president and a socialist being president. So there may be a very sophisticated, complex play here on Trump's part if he has no further documentation. He could play this poker game, and somebody that owns casinos, it's always been said, I was in the...
well, he does, doesn't he?
I was in the advertising business in a former life.
Advertising?
Yeah, the advertising world and newspapers and all that. And the argument used to be, you don't start a war with people that buy ink by the barrel, okay? You don't play poker with a guy who owns about 25 casinos. So the president and Trump are in a huge poker game right now. That's if he doesn't have documentation. But just imagine if Alan is right.
If there is some documentation.
And he does have something. Oh, my God.
Well, then why didn't he just release the information? Why the big tease to start it off?
Do you own 55,000 trillion casinos and buildings?
Would I be sitting here if I did?
Do you know how to market stuff the way he does? You build the excitement. You lay it out, point 1, point 2, act 1, act 2, act 3. He's laying it out.
Let's see what the reaction of the media is tomorrow. Will they take Benghazi off the front pages and put this Trump headline in to replace it in order to get the public away from Benghazi?
Oh, that's interesting.
No.
That's interesting. Hey, Alan, can you wake up Mort? Is he there or what?
I hope he called in.
Mort, are you still there, Mort?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Do you have any clue what we're talking about now?
Well, yeah, I hear you, but I'm still working on the fact that you're broadcasting from 3 to 6 p.m. And I'm excited about that. And I think what you've invented here is radio for my eyes.
Oh, we like that.
Excellent.
And you have had your cataracts removed, so this is working out nicely for you.
Well, what we are going to do, because Mort is also a distinguished artiste, we're going to, as soon as we get our train properly on the tracks here, we're going to feature some of Mort's fabulous political caricatures and satirical writings. Great stuff. So, all right, guys, any other concluding thoughts before we let you, both of you, go, our good friends Mort and Alan?
Let's hear more from Mort.
Okay.
Yeah, and let's do it on another day because I'm tapped out right now.
Come on, you always got to joke up your turban.
Thanks very much. Bye.
Okay, bye,
Thanks for
guys.
having me on. Love you all.
We love you, too. Those are our good friends, Mort and Alan. For those of you who follow the work that we do at the United West, Alan was a debate partner with myself against we did 4 formal debates starting in May. Alan and myself took the conservative side, the conservative Republican side. We debated Rabbi Barry Silver, and then the head of the Democratic Party in Palm Beach County, Mark Allen Siegel.
The former head of the Democrat, till he blew up after the DNC.
He had a hard time. Mark Allen Siegel.
His head exploded.
Yeah, he wanted got all confused about Christians and frying Jews and all of this. But we debated Mark Allen Siegel. Then we debated some other guy. 4 debates, and it's really sad that when you get into the arena, the public square, and you go head to head on these issues, and you lay out the conservative view of the world and the liberal view of the world. It's what's disappointing for someone like me who likes to see A connected to B connected to C. Something makes sense. You see the detachment from reality of the leftist thinking. Not so much that they hold a different position, but they don't understand it, they can't articulate it, and if there are any of you leftist liberals out there who would disagree with me, we'd be glad to chat a little bit at 888-565-1470. We hold to a conservative view of life here. We think it's the most consistent, coherent approach. Answers to all the questions better than a leftist liberal point of view. And when you get a pilot who has the wrong bearings flying your plane, it's going to be a bumpy ride and you may crash. Well, if that pilot happens to be the President of the United States, you're going to have a bumpy 4 years and you're going to crash. And that's where we're headed now, which is why we need to change the leadership in this country. The purpose of this show is to aggressively advocate a position, conservative position, based upon the free market economics, the Judeo-Christian worldview, the fact that each man has the capability to succeed in and of themselves. Certainly working together is wonderful, makes a lot of sense, ought to be. But the government, historically and now we believe, should play the smallest role possible in an individual's life. That's completely opposite, ladies and gentlemen, of this administration's view. Their view is all of you are too stupid. Everybody that's maneuvering an automobile right now on I-95 is too stupid to know what's good for them about your health care choices, or about your banking choices, or about what kind of car you need to buy, all of these things. This administration wants to control, manage, and be a nanny state, telling everybody what to do and taking your money that you've worked hard for to pay themselves to continue to tell you what to do. We don't like that as conservatives. This president has to be defeated 13 days from today. And we're particularly talking, ladies and gentlemen, to two demographic groups. Those of you who claim to be Christians, there are 1 million, at least in the state of Florida, 1 million serious Christians that do not vote. This is sinful. We'll do some shows on this down the road. Sinful that democracy, this republic actually, entrusts each member, everyone that signed a contract, a compact with that Constitution, by being a citizen. You've said, okay, I accept the benefits of this contract. Well, the quid pro quo is you go on one day a year and you vote one day every 4 years. We're asking all of you people who are Christians to recognize your moral and ethical and patriotic responsibility to vote intelligently. And for those of you who are veterans, 1.6 million veterans in the state of Florida, 1.6 million, 700,000 of you who put on the uniform, many of whom fought in combat, many of whom worked during a combat phase, 700,000 voted for President Obama in 2008. We know you regret it, and this show, particularly on national security issues, is designed to assist you in stepping away from that mistake 4 years ago and intelligently voting in 13 days. That's what we're all about. In our next hour, we will play some sad videos, really sad. We thought, particularly with the election of a black president, he's not really an African American, but
well, yes, he is.
Well, he's 50% white. You know, when you're 50% white and you're partially African American and you're partially Islamic, I mean, what is it? You know,
I don't know. I guess we need to see where that birth certificate comes
from. When we elected a black president, we thought the race issue would be put aside. But this president is playing the race card to win. We're going to show you two ways, one through video and one through this fascinating story coming out of Des Moines, Iowa. That's in our next hour. And then in the third hour, we will get down to Benghazi and the national security debacle, where 4 Americans have died. And guess what? This president, this administration, within 2 or 3 hours after it was happening, knew by newly released cables and documents, knew that it was a terrorist attack. So this is Tom Trento, the team. We are going to take a short break. We'll see you on the other side of the hour, about 4 or 5 after. And good seeing you guys at the 3 o'clock guys. We're going into the 4 o'clock hour in a few minutes.
Thanks for tuning in to TrentoVision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Your host, Tom Trento, is an activist street fighter with earned degrees in law enforcement, theology, and philosophy. To reach Tom, call 561-319-5533, 561-319-5533, or email him at tom@trentovision.com. Tune in again weekdays at 2 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
And as Jewish people, we want a type of society that cares about people, that is fair, and that is just. There is more to this election than merely Israel. The Christians just want us to be there so we can all be slaughtered and converted and bring on the second coming of Jesus Christ. According to the Talmud, we lost the Second Commonwealth because of causeless hate.
Destroy your confidence and dampen your lust for life. At Boston Medical Group, we've been successful in helping men like you for over 15 years. Here's what our patients are saying.
My life is back, and so am I. Thanks a million. Boston Medical Group is truly a lifesaver. You have changed my life dramatically for the better.
Using only FDA-approved medications, Boston Medical Group's treatment is individually formulated to treat your specific condition. It's effective in 98% of men, regardless of what has caused your ED, and you'll see results in just one visit. Live again. Call Boston Medical Group. Schedule your consultation now and get a free guide to overcoming ED and a $250 gift certificate for our treatment program. 800-329-3400. One 5-minute call could change your life. That's 800-329-3400. 800-329-3400. Boston Medical Group, the world's #1 choice in men's sexual health.
AM 1470 with even more information you can use. Are you suffering with chronic pain? Tune in for No Bones About It with Dr. Alvin Stein. You'll learn non-invasive techniques that can help you get rid of your pain without the use of harmful drugs or surgery. That's No Bones About It with Dr. Alvin Stein. Tuesday mornings at 11, right here on AM 1470 WNN, South Florida's Health and Wealth Network.
Download the iRadio Now app for iPhone or Android phones. Free at your iPhone App Store or Android App Market. Take AM 1470 WWNN with you wherever you go.
Hi, I'm Duke Liberatore.
And I'm Dr. Jan McBaron.
We're a husband and wife team.
And together we host the #1 health talk show in the nation,
Duke and the Doctor.
You can hear our show weekday mornings at 10 here on WWNN AM 1470 Health and Wealth Radio.
We'll discuss up-to-date health news, give away gifts, share a laugh or two, and answer health questions from our callers.
So if you are ready to start feeling happy, healthy, and terrific, then tune in to Duke and the Doctor.
Weekday mornings at 10 on WWNN AM 1470.
This is Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WWNN Pompano Beach, and WKIS HD3, Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
From America's Radio News, I'm Rick Vincent. Just what the White House knew and when about the attack on the Libyan consulate continues to perplex many critics. It's emerged that the White House was told almost immediately that a militant group was claiming responsibility for the deadly attack on the U.S. mission in Libya. AP White House correspondent Mark Smith has the latest.
An email from the State Department to the White House Situation Room 2 hours after the assault began said the group Ansar al-Sharia had used social media to say it's responsible. But Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton says this is just one of many conflicting reports that came in on the death of Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 others and proves nothing.
Posting something on Facebook is not, in and of itself, evidence.
Critics say the administration blamed the attack on an anti-Islam film even when it knew otherwise. But the White House says its early statements came from CIA guidance that the facts weren't clear. Mark Smith at the White House.
The Tunisian government has confirmed it has arrested a 28-year-old Tunisian, Ali Harzai, reportedly linked to the U.S. consulate attack in Libya. Little information is being released about his arrest. Campaigning in Iowa today, President Barack Obama says while Mitt Romney is running away from his economic plan, the Democratic plan is one to be proud of.
I've got a plan that will actually create jobs, that will actually reduce the deficit, that will actually create middle-class security. And unlike Mitt Romney, I'm proud to talk about what's actually in my plan.
Romney's campaign still supports Republican Indiana Senate candidate Richard Murdoch after Murdoch said that God intended pregnancies that result from rape. However, it says Romney disagrees with Murdoch's opposition to abortion in cases of rape and incest. Murdoch acknowledges he could have better worded his belief.
I did not intend to suggest that God wants rape, that God pushes people to rape, that God wants to support or condone evil in any way.
Murdoch made the comment during a debate last night with his opponent, Democratic Representative Joe Donnelly. Journalism without agenda. This is America's Radio News.
sheriffs across the country know something's wrong. Local and state politicians are often being influenced, even threatened, both financially and professionally, by rogue agencies and special interest groups who are violating the people's rights through unlawful and negligent acts. This must stop. NCSA is an association established by and for concerned sheriffs and those they serve. Its members understand the intent and importance of their oath of office. It is not to be taken lightly or influenced by any outside favor. NCSA provides education for sheriffs to use their authority responsibly, effectively, and lawfully to protect those they serve. For over 200 years, your local sheriff's oath to protect the people and uphold the rule of law has worked. Support your local sheriff. Donate at www.ncsa1.org. That's ncsa1.org. ncsa1.org.
Sales of new homes jumped 5.7% last month to the highest level in more than 2 years. Economist Gus O'Shea says today's report helps the Federal Reserve feel like it has been doing the right thing.
This confirms that the Fed is on the right track. The Fed is working to keep mortgage rates extremely low. That's contributing to the turnaround in the housing market. And I think the Fed will look at these numbers and similar numbers we've been getting and say, you know, look, we're on the right track.
Sales have risen 27% in the past year. Gas prices dropped another 13 cents the past week to an average of $3.62 a gallon. But before you start feeling too good about that, remember that prices are still much higher than ever for this time of year. Health experts say pregnant women should be vaccinated against whooping cough. AP correspondent Tim McGuire reports.
An advisory panel on immunization is recommending every pregnant woman be immunized against whooping cough as a way to protect newborns who are too young to get the vaccine. The nation is suffering from its worst whooping cough outbreak since the 1950s, with 32,000 cases and 16 deaths this year. The whooping cough vaccine joins with flu shots as the only recommended vaccines during pregnancy. Federal health officials usually adopt the panel's recommendations.
Police say a gunman opened fire today inside the chapel of a Georgia megachurch, killing one person just south of Atlanta. They say the suspect got away in a vehicle and is still at large. A National Hockey League team plans to move from the suburbs to the city. AP correspondent Warren Levinson reports.
The New York Islanders are moving. Not far, but they're moving. Charles Wang, owner of the National Hockey League franchise, plans to move from Uniondale, Long Island, to the new Barclays Center in Brooklyn after the team's lease expires in 2015. The move from suburbs to city is less than 25 miles, but it short-circuits a struggle over real estate development and a new arena for the Islanders. Last year, Nassau County voters rejected a bond issue to help build one. Meanwhile, the current season in the NHL is in jeopardy with a lockout in place. The players and management aren't even talking.
Your first stop for breaking news. This is America's Radio News.
What you want to know. What you need to know. This is South Florida's Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to TrentoVision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. TrentoVision is hosted by Tom Trento, an activist street fighter with earned degrees in law enforcement, theology, and philosophy. Listen and watch every weekday at 2 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and TrentoVision.com. Now, let's take a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
Okay, we're back at the top of the hour here, 6 minutes. 6 minutes after 4 o'clock on the East Coast. Now we're riding around with you guys with iHeartRadio, all of our friends in California. iHeartRadio plugged into your manifold, coming out the exhaust, going into the fuel injectors, and somehow our sound of our voice is coming through your new car in California. That's pretty cool. Drive time in California, drive time in Florida. Can you have it any better, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, you can. 13 days from today, with the defeat of President Obama, the world will be a better and safer place. That's what we're all about here on TrentoVision.tv. WNN 1470 on the radio in Boca Raton. If you want to speak with us, if you want to speak to us, if you want to speak for us, if you want to yell at us, if you just want to comment on something, if you want to know, your horoscope, whatever you want, you can give us a call, 565-1470, but you got to put the three little numbers 888 in front of that. 888-565. Then it's the call numbers for the station, 1470.
Okay, and you need to give me some notice if you want me to be prepared to talk about people's horoscopes. Okay. I need a little prep time for that.
No, you don't. It's very simple. What are you? What is your sign?
What's my sign?
Yes.
Oh, good question. Capricorn.
Okay, Capricorn.
Yeah.
Today will be Today you will have.
Today I will have a swell time at the office.
You will meet someone. You will meet a person today, and you will have an opportunity to have delicious food, and then at some point during the day the sun will go down, and then the next day will start for you. Okay.
Oh, wow.
There you go. I mean,
wow. So much of that has already come true.
Yeah, you see, these Capricorn things, these horoscopes are pretty easy.
Yeah.
But
I think we'll have you give the horoscope report.
What I want to do, I wanted to start a company, and this has nothing to do with what our show does, but I wanted to start a company that printed the little papers for Chinese fortune cookies. Because everyone you get says, you will win the lottery, you will get a new car. Oh, you're going to be. I want to have your left foot is going to be broken before the end of the I wanted to have real life, serious. Just watch somebody open these things up where both of your eyes are going to catch on fire in 2 seconds, and just have a camera there to catch them reading that. But I haven't started that company yet, but I will.
That's $1 million idea, Tom. That's $1 million idea.
Hey, Trump, you listening, Trump? You and me.
That's $1 million idea to say.
We're going to business. That $5 million you're going to save from Obama because he ain't doing nothing.
Yeah.
You and I go to business.
2 million fortune cookies for you, right?
Yeah, I have some advice for Donald Trump.
My scary fortune cookie deal. We can make it work. Trump's right now trademarking the concept. Hey, he calls his lawyers up. Trademark the thing. I may want to use it someday. In any event, welcome everybody to the top of the hour, second hour. For those of you who have been following us on TrentoVision for the past couple of months, we were originally at the 2 to 3 hour at WNN 1470 here in beautiful Boca Raton. But the world has changed because of the necessity of us being with you over the next 13 days and following, to help guide you righteously and rightfully toward the polling booths. We make no bones about it. Our expertise is in national security and foreign policy, and there's been serious failures in this administration, serious failures that have made the world a more dangerous place. Try traveling like we do overseas. Try traveling in any Islamic country right now as a Westerner. See how well that's going to work out for you. Hey, let's go to Egypt and look at the pyramids. Who wants to do that right now? Jordan is about to tumble. King Hussein is scared out of it. I know. Let's go to Iran. Let's go to Tahrir Square. Well, that's Egypt. Let's go to Tehran and walk around the area under the large bridge expanse where the Green Revolution took place in 2009, and the students held up signs, President Obama, help us. Let's go there and hang out for a little while.
He helped the Persian Spring, didn't he?
Yes. I
want to go there with an LGBT crowd. Just go hang out and just see just what happens when we go into these places.
Yeah, there are no gays in Iran. You know that. When Ahmadinejad was in Colombia in 2010, he explained that we don't have gay people in Iran. No, because we hang them.
Yeah, you hang them.
So that's our work.
Did you hear the new fashion of the new fashion for hanging gays over there? They take extra cranes. They put them up on cranes, and they pull up and they hang them over. That's the new welcoming center of Ahmadinejad.
It's quick. It's quick.
Yes. So.
Yeah, and along those lines, if you have not seen Argo, the movie, ARGO with Ben Affleck, you really need to go see it. Have you guys seen it?
do you give us time to
No,
go to the
when's the
movie?
last time we've had 5 minutes to watch it?
Good grief, we don't even have time to watch your own videos.
It's actually very, very good. Ben Affleck is a CIA documents expert, and it's the true story of the agency putting together a team to look like they were creating a movie called Argo and go in and rescue the 6 Americans that were hiding out in the Canadian embassy right after the hostage being taken in 1979. Very, very good movie, and true. The only thing, the ending's a little different, but I won't tell you about the ending. We won't be a spoiler. In any event, at 13 past the hour, you're with Tom Trento, Mark, and CJ. And last hour, our first hour for this day, our inaugural 3-hour show. You know, while we were doing the 2 to 3 hour, 1 hour, we'd finish the hour and go, oh my God, we need more time. We need more time to get through all this stuff. Well, now we have the time, so it's very nice. We can be relaxed. If you want to talk to us, you can give us a call at 888-565-1470. You can share your comments about anything. The last hour was the Trump hour, where we showed you. Actually, we didn't show you because our little showing machine didn't work.
Really?
A little different than a sewing machine. It's our showing machine. Didn't work. Well, we think we have it working now. But you heard Trump making his announcement. He will give $5 million.
I know, it's so tempting to say billion.
I know, $5 million. $5 million to the charity of President Obama's choice if President Obama reveals his report card from Harvard or Columbia or Occidental. Why wouldn't, I mean, you know, I went to New Jersey public schools, and then I went to schools in other states. Anybody wants to see any of my report cards, you can see them. You know, I mean, I don't understand why any paper I've ever written, you could, and I have 3 earned degrees. Any paper I've ever written, you could see any one of them, whatever you want. And, you know, if it's crazy stuff, I was in a crazy phase of my life, you know. It's simple. Why is this guy hiding his documents and his report card?
First of all, he spent probably $10 billion to cover them up, so Trump needs to step up the price tag a little bit, I think, you know.
And this is the same person who's been screaming for months and months and months and months that Romney hasn't released enough information on himself, and we need to see more of his tax returns from 20 years ago, right? We need more openness from Romney. However, my life is a closed private affair.
You can't have any of that stuff, no.
Well, it looks to me, kiddies, like Mr. Trump. We're talking about this stuff right now, and there's 5 million people in the sound of our voice. Right. Mr. Trump accomplished, at least in part, his objective, which is to create a national dialogue on this, even if for 1 minute. But let's see what Beth has to say. Beth, you're with Tom and CJ and Mark. Hi, how are you? Where are you calling from?
Boca, and congratulations. Now I don't have to listen to Sean Hannity.
We like
There's
Sean.
a regurgitation of the day's news.
Finally, we have some normalcy here.
Okay, well, I don't know.
That is really the first time we've ever heard that.
Yeah, we don't know.
Oh, my God.
Okay, how are you, Beth?
Anyway, I'm calling because I tried to call him last week with General LaValle.
Yes, Valley, right.
And you didn't take any calls, so I wanted to give you some information, and you can even get a guest on if you'd like.
Okay, if you can make it just short and sweet. We're on a tight schedule to bring in a guest, but sure.
Osama bin Laden died before 2011. He's a boogeyman for the CIA. Clinton could have killed him right in his hospital bed. Bush knew it, and Bush's father created him. And all this is BS, and if you believe he lied about Benghazi, you got to believe he lied about bin Laden. And the source is a CIA psychiatrist. He's in Miami. I'm sure he'd love to go on your show, and I can give you his name. He has a website. You can send him a note, and he'll be happy to tell you the whole thing. But he's sick and tired of the lies. Is that enough in a nutshell?
Yeah, that's pretty good. He
died of Marfan syndrome, which is the same disease that Lincoln had, very long arms and fingers. And the person that they showed on the TV was a decrepit old man. The whole thing was a story. I don't even believe the SEALs even ever went in there.
Okay, well, you know.
And plus, you're not buried in a sea when you're a Muslim. You're buried facing east.
Yeah, well, I guess you can float around in the water until you face these.
You can't believe what the government tells you. That's why I'm glad you're on the air.
Well, we feel that we can't believe what this government tells us, and that's for sure.
Every government.
Well,
if I told you that George Bush is the one that picks the candidates, would you believe me?
Here's what we do. And look, I've been doing this a long time, and I've heard any possible theory about anything, anywhere, from whatever. And I always listen, and I say, send me what you got, let me take a look at it.
We need a new party. We need a third party. We need a revolution.
Then we put any claim, any situation to a series of tests.
Well, the only way it's going to happen is the second revolution. Right. But anyway, if you want to put me on hold, I'll give you the name of the guy, or I can say it on the air.
Here's what you do. Just Tom at TrentoVision.tv. Pretty simple. Just send an email.
TrentoVision.tv. Oh, okay.
Send all the information, and we'll take a look at it. And I don't know if we'll do anything before the election because we're pretty focused.
Whatever you want, but it's a guest for you to have.
Yeah, is
it Tom at TrentoVisionTV.com?
.tv.
That's it?
Yeah, and, we happen to know some of the SEALs who were close to the SEAL operator that wrote the book, No Easy Day. But
Tom, there was no DNA.
Yeah.
There was no DNA.
And you didn't.
There was no. Do you know that?
And you know that how? How do you know that?
There's a man named Barry Malik Shabazz that died the same year in August that Barack Hussein Obama went into the Senate, and he died without a death certificate too.
Yeah, how do you know?
He had a huge car accident in 1982.
Okay. All right, send us the information. We'll take a look at it. Thank you, Beth, for giving us the call.
Congratulations.
And I thank you very, very much. We appreciate it. It takes anybody and everybody is welcome to listen and watch, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're watching, you're obviously watching at TrentoVision.tv. If you're not watching, you're just listening today when you get home, you can go to TrentoVision.tv and watch the show. Why would you watch it? I don't know. You can see, you can see what's going on here, but we do play. And in the days ahead, we think our showing machine will be working a little more effectively, and we'll show you some more stuff with the showing machine. So, but thanks, Beth. And seriously, I mean, I've been doing this really 30 years. Every conspiratorial. Now, you can go right now to Ground Zero. You can go there right now, and the truther folks are set up. Not the truther folks. What do they call them?
They are called truthers.
Those
aren't
are the truthers.
Yeah.
Birthers are the other ones.
Birthers and truthers.
I'm getting them mixed up. The truther guys are there.
Yeah.
They got a little table.
Well, actually, I think the truther guys are all at MSNBC.
I think they're all there. Yeah. But you can only get about 10 feet to the table because they're not real adherents or friends with daily bathing, these guys.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, and you get there, and they just got it down. The Jews did it. Inside, each pillar was nailed. It came in and imploded. You can't blow it up. Is it possible, my first question always is it possible for me to say anything that's going to convince you differently? No, never!
Okay.
I said, okay, let's think about what you just said. I asked if something is possible. You said no. What does that say? Not about me. What does that say about you and your ability to intelligently evaluate maybe new information? Get the hell out of here! That's the way it goes. But what are you going to do? That's life. In any event, it's 20 after the hour. We're going to have an interesting segment. Let's get our next guest on the line. Here's what happened yesterday, folks. President Obama is a tremendous campaigner. He's a terrible chief executive officer. He's a very good chief community organizer. He's a very good chief executive ideologue. He's not a very good chief executive officer, and he's a great campaigner. He can do that very well.
He hasn't stopped campaigning since his last election. It's been continuous.
That's his thing. I mean, he's been created by other people. For the new listening and driving audience, I run a counterterrorism organization, and we're all members here of the United West. It's an educational organization that fights the Muslim Brotherhood and exposes their work in the United States and other places. And in this capacity, we have done extensive and deep investigation into President Obama, starting from his early days in Hawaii, through the Frank Marshall Davis days, through Occidental College in L.A., through Columbia with Edward Said and Khalid Rashidi, through Harvard with Al Mansour, formerly Don Warden of the Black Panther Party, through the connections with the King of Saudi Arabia, through the financing through Don Warden of his
but nothing to see here.
Harvard.
Nothing to see here. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Nothing to see here. Move on. These are only his own words, out of his own book, out of his own mouth.
It's all open source. It's all open source, documented information that we lay out. And, we've concluded that this president may be a good community organizer, all of that, but not a good CIC, Commander-in-Chief. But yesterday he was at the top of his game at the Delray Beach Tennis Center. For those of you listening out of state or watching out of Florida, Delray Beach is a little bit north of Boca Raton. It sits between West Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale. They're about 40 miles apart. Delray, Boca are two kind of boutique towns between West Palm on the north, Fort Lauderdale on the south. And in the Tony town of Delray, Tony, cool town, it's got a beautiful Atlantic Avenue, something like South Beach going perpendicular instead of along the ocean. Or, Mike, what's the place in Santa Monica? What's it called? Promenade in Santa Monica. Delray Beach has one of those. And yesterday, at the end of that strip in Delray, is the Delray Beach Tennis Center. Yesterday, on his way to Palm Beach Airport, which was north of Delray, the president stopped at the Delray Beach Tennis Center, and it holds 8,500 people. I think there were about 5,000 people there. And around 10 o'clock yesterday morning, President Obama led a rally. Do we have Reverend Dozier on the line?
Well, I'm texting him, and I'm waiting for him to phone in.
Okay.
He should be phoning in any minute now.
Okay, then we'll hold off on the video.
Okay.
But yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning, the president was in full campaign mode, ladies and gentlemen. Rocking and rolling. The guy's a rock star when he campaigns. And he was there, his talking points, but it doesn't matter. There's something magical, regardless of who the president is. Just the mere fact that you've elevated yourself or been elevated to the highest office possible in the universe, except the grand potentate of Mars, which not too many people know about, but Beth knows about that, I'm sure. And he was rocking and rolling yesterday and jazzing up the crowd. Hey, Romney's no good. Well, the crowd let out afterwards, and we sent one of our intrepid, that's always a good word, or hard-charging, or very competent investigative reporters over to fire up a camera and just say hello to people and let them be who they are. And we have some fascinating video footage for the viewers, and you can listen to the audio track. Now, the audio track at times may be somewhat unintelligible, but actually, by its nature of being unintelligible, it's very
intelligible,
very educational, as you will hear shortly. I'd like to play this.
We do have Reverend Dozier holding on.
Well, bring him on so we can hear the audio too.
Yeah, Reverend Dozier, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
You're with Tom Trento, CJ Mark. How are you today, sir?
Just fine, Tom. And you?
Good, doing well. I don't know how much you heard of what I was saying about the tennis center yesterday in Delray Beach and the president.
No, I did not.
Okay. I'll repeat it just very quickly. President spoke yesterday to a crowd of maybe 5,000 people, most of whom were black, African American, and you probably know that the tennis center's in that part of town for the most part, and a lot, it was filled with Democrats, mostly African American folks were there, and it was a big rally, exciting rally, all of that. We sent one of our reporters to talk to the people as they came out. And he was just going to question them, how to go, all of that. But when they came out, the President Obama supporters saw across the street at the Delray Beach Public Library, literally right across the street.
Right.
The crowd saw two Romney supporters. They were holding a sign, a Romney-Ryan sign, and there were two of them, and about 200 people from the Obama audience went and surrounded the Romney people and started screaming and yelling at them. And our reporter, instead of thinking he was just going to interview some, President Obama folks, he really got in the middle of a near riot. So we put this 2-minute video out on the internet, and we're getting interesting remarks. We want you to hear it. You're not going to be able to see it unless you're looking at. Are you looking at a computer, Reverend Dozier, or are you just on the phone?
No, I'm just on the phone.
Okay. Well, you'll hear it, and people watching at home can see it, and I'll just set it up. I do a little lead-in for 20 seconds or whatever, and then...
Yeah, we're going to go right to the crowd.
Okay. We're going to go right to the crowd, now what all you people driving, what you're going to listen to is a crowd of about 100, 200 people in Delray Beach yesterday morning surrounding two Romney supporters. And after you hear some of the Obama supporters very angry with the Romney people because they felt that the Romney people were disrespecting them, the Romney sign holders were disrespecting the Obama people because they were there with a sign. Then our reporter goes to a couple of the Romney supporters, talks to them. Then after the Romney supporter, our reporter goes back to an Obama supporter, and it concludes with the Obama supporter. So here we go. Hang on. Okay, Reverend Dozier, did you get the gist of that? Reverend Dozier.
We lose Reverend Dozier.
We did? He hung up? We lost him. His call dropped. We'll get him back on the line, and I could explain to him what was going on and see what he says. Now, the folks at home saw this, correct? We're getting Reverend Dozier back on the line. That wasn't our fault.
No.
And for those of you watching,
the phone got it
at home,
He's back.
Reverend Dozier, did you see or hear enough of that to get the gist of it?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did, Tom. And, Tom, I am really appalled at that. I really am. But, this is the very same thing that I warned the people of in 2008. I said that if he becomes the president of the United States, he would simply widen the racial divide in this country even more than it is. We were doing pretty good racially in this country until Obama came up on the scene. And then he started playing, all the race cards and all this sort of stuff. It is horrible. See, that's what that comes from. See, when you have a divider in the White House like Obama, this is what you're going to have. I pray that the nation has learned something from this, and that is this. You can never put a liberal black Democrat into the White House to be president of the United States of America.
Well, you got to explain that. You're leaving us hanging. What does that mean? We thought the world was going to be a better place once that actually occurred.
That's why people voted for him.
Anytime you have a black Democrat in an office like this, it's the first time we've ever had that. But I knew that this was going to happen. Because, listen, anytime you criticize the policies of someone like this guy, people are going to say you're racist.
Oh, okay.
You see, that is what I mean by that. In other words, if you put a black Democrat into the White House, then you're going to have to deal with the race issue because his policies, every time he's criticized concerning his policies, he is going to say it, and the people around him are going to say that you're racist. They're going to say, oh, you don't like him because he's black. It has nothing to do with his skin color. It has nothing to do with the fact that his father was a Negro. It has everything to do with his policies. I know that. You know that. Any sensible person really understands that.
Let me do this, Reverend Dozier. You're well known in the South Florida area, but we're on the internet now, and we have people driving all over listening. Let me take a minute to tell you folks who you're listening to now. This isn't some guy off the street that we called. You're listening to an expert on these issues and many other issues, Reverend O'Neill Dozier, the pastor of the Worldwide Christian Center in Pompano Beach. Reverend Dozier is a veteran, an Army veteran, combat veteran from Vietnam, 20 years in the United States Army. Then he went to law school, got a law degree. Then he became a minister. And during all of that, he played professional football, too. So you have a highly experienced, highly educated, well-informed, sort of a Renaissance man. And O'Neill Dozier, who is an African-American, by the way, was a favorite son of the Texas Bush family, the George Bush family, and by George Bush's estimation, was a good friend of him. George Bush said, O'Neill, you're a good friend of mine. And all of that was true for many years until Reverend O'Neill Dozier took a stand, a public stand, against a jihadi mosque being built, an Islamic jihadi mosque being built in a Pompano Beach black neighborhood, and then he got thrown under the bus by the Bush family and by this administration, not this administration, the former gubernatorial administration, Charlie Crist here. He was a favorite son, an advisor to the governor and to the president. So this person on the phone knows of what he speaks. Reverend Dozier, it is very evident, particularly with the slip-up of the president in the Des Moines Register, where he referenced that if he wins, it'll be because the Republicans and Romney are mishandling the Latinos, the dark-skinned people. It's clear to us because we study Saul Alinsky's methodologies, that this president is really playing the race card. What do you have to say to your fellow African Americans when you talk to them about this? And then what do you have to say to your fellow Christians when you talk to them about these issues?
Well, you know what I tell everyone. This is what I just said today to a reporter, Tom, and that is this. You know, we want to get out the vote, but we want to get out the vote in a way that it does not offend God in the democratic process. That is to say, we want intelligent people to go to the polls and vote. That's what we want them to do. We want them to be informed concerning the issues. That is what I tell them. I tell everyone I see, never vote for a person because of their skin color nor their party. That is wrong. And I tell everyone this, especially Christians, Tom, that a Christian cannot and should not ever vote for a person who advocates for abortion, homosexuality, and socialism. This is what I tell them. You see? And this president doesn't care anything about the minorities in this country. This president doesn't even care anything about America. This president only cares about being reelected. The entire time he's been in office, and you know this, Tom, the only thing he has ever done is campaign. He's a good campaigner, but he's not a good president. He's not a good governor. You know, he hasn't done anything to advance the American cause, domestically nor foreignly. He has not. He has made the economy worse. He has just messed up our culture. I mean, you know, it's bad. It's terrible what this president has done. And if we were to give him 4 more years, we're going to get the same duplicating stuff. That's all we're going to get for this guy.
Hi, we're on with Reverend O'Neill Dozier from the Worldwide Christian Center in Pompano. If you'd like to speak with the good Reverend or disagree with him, whatever the case may be, or any of us here, you can give us a call at 888-565-1470. And for those of you who are just tuning in, this is Tom Trento, your host at TrentoVision. We typically have been in the 2 to 3 o'clock hour here on WNN 1470, but things are heating up. We got 13 more days to save the world, and that's critically important. So we have moved to the 3 to 6 hour. We're going to be with you guys 3 hours a day, drive time in Florida, drive time, afternoon drive out in California. We're broadcasting 50,000 watts from North Palm Beach to Fort Pierce, WNN 1470. You can hear us on iHeartRadio, digital radio, a little app that gives you digital sound on your iPhone or smartphone. And if you want to watch, hanging out in the afternoon at your home, TrentoVision.tv, and you can see the whole show. So we're on with O'Neill Dozier, 888-565-1470. Mark, you have a question for the Reverend?
Yes. As far as President Obama claims to be a Christian and claims to be a Christian going to the Reverend Wright's Trinity Church Black Liberation Theology. Yeah. How does that Black Liberation Theology differ from your ministry, and why wouldn't President Obama come to your church?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Good question, yeah. Because you kick him out of there, brother.
No, you would try to convert him, wouldn't you, to Christianity?
Yeah, but how is Black Liberation Theology differ from what you preach, Reverend?
It differ in this way, that through Jesus Christ, we are already free. Everyone who receives Jesus Christ as the Lord and Savior are free. Okay? In other words, we don't need a secular theology. In other words, we don't need to make Christianity nothing else than what it is in order to help black people. Okay, do you follow me?
Yes.
See, listen, a Christian is already victorious and free. We're free in Christ. And if we were to follow the Christian principles, we will be prosperous in every way. So therefore, we don't have to recreate Christianity and add nothing to it and take nothing away from it in order for it to fit and assist black people.
So there is no social collective justice that has to be attained to do greater work with as far as of what you're preaching, as far as what
that's right. Christianity in Christ. Once you're in Christ, you're complete.
Let me ask you this, Reverend Dozier, because you're a fascinating guy because you have expertise in so many areas, and that's very helpful clearing up the
Christian side.
The Christian side.
The black liberation theology. That was James Coyne's doctrine that Obama studied under.
But that preaches racial division, doesn't it? Doesn't it preach?
It's exactly what we saw in Delray Beach on this video just now.
It preaches to black people that they should hate all white people and that they should look for ways to exploit class and color differences between the people in order to achieve something better for black people. That's completely the opposite of everything that the president said that he was all about and that the majority of the people who voted for him in 2008 thought he was about. Now we're seeing, since he's been in office, that in fact he's trying to racially divide this country. He's trying to divide this country by class, and that is all related to the black liberation theology that he sat under in Chicago for 20 years before he went to Washington.
Yep. And the lady at the end, the black woman at the end, said, "We're black. We all have to stick together. You know, if you're black and you vote and you don't vote for Obama," she pointed to her head. You didn't see it, Reverend Dozier. She goes, "You got something wrong up here in your head." If we said that,
think about it that way.
I guess I'm Caucasian. That's what I have.
You're Italian. You're Italian. You're a different breed altogether.
But if we were to say, "Hey, all white people, you have to vote for Romney," every white person has. Clearly, somebody would say that's racist. How come that isn't racist, Reverend Dozier? If a black woman says that,
there's a double standard. There's a double standard, Tom, and there ought not be a double standard. You see?
Yep.
See, I, as a black man, can say things, and it's supposed to be okay. I can say the most, inflammable stuff. It's supposed to be okay to black people because I'm black. But if I were a white person and I were to say certain things, like some things that other blacks are saying, then I would be a racist.
Yep.
But you see, let's let this go. But you see, I knew back when Obama first began to run, the reason I knew that Obama would not be what America needs is because of the fact that he sat under Reverend Rice Church for 20 years and went to service at least 2 times per month. Now listen at this. See, I am a pastor. Anyone who sits under my teaching and preaching for not 20 years, but just for 6 months or a year, they began to think like me. They began to take on the ideology of the teacher.
And by the way, I've been to Reverend Dozier's church, and it is for black people and it is for white people, and everybody gets together and sits together, and there is no division in his church.
Just a quick question. Yeah, one more question. Have you seen since 2004 till today, we've heard the figure 98% of black people voted for Obama last time. Have you seen that percentage move away from that 98 percentile to today in your arena or not?
Yes, I have seen that in my talking with a lot of blacks now. You know what I believe? I believe that Obama will get at least 93 or 94%.
Okay.
But I don't think he'll get the 96 that he got before.
And are the other black churches upset about the homosexual stance that he's been taking, gay marriage and everything else? Has there been a movement inside the other organizations?
Well, just a few, Tom. Just a few. Tom, I have talked with a lot of black pastors on that particular subject, and this is what they're saying. Well, I disagree with Obama on that issue, on the issue of same-sex marriage, but I'm going to support him still. I don't understand that. I really don't. You know, that's puzzling to me, because if you are a Christian, how can you advocate for or even vote for a candidate who advocates for homosexuality? I can't see that. You see? Because in the Bible, God destroyed 2 cities, Sodom and Gomorrah, primarily because of homosexuality, the act of homosexuality. And we need to understand this. If God gives America a pass on homosexuality, okay, God would have to, which I know he's not going to ever do that. He would never apologize. In other words, he would have to apologize to the inhabitants of Sodom and Gomorrah. And God is not going to ever do that, Tom. Therefore, I know that God is not going to give America a pass.
Right.
We're going down a slippery slope here that is going to cause a terrible judgment upon this country, primarily because of our pushing and advocating and supporting homosexuality.
Okay, Dr. Reverend O'Neill Dozier, we will have you back and discuss. I want to discuss some national security issues with you down the road also. Appreciate you.
Talk about that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing there. Libya. What's happening in Libya, the situation of how this president handled Libya, okay, is worse than how Nixon handled Watergate.
Yep, absolutely. In our third hour, our 5 to 6 hour,
we're going to be talking about this.
We're gonna pick that up. But I got to let you go right now. Thank you for all you're doing.
We're going to be scheduling an interview in the studio.
Yep, we'll bring you
in advance.
We'll bring you in the studio and
spend more time.
Appreciate everything. Thank you very, very much, Reverend Dozier. You take care now.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Leslie, are you there?
Sir.
Is this Leslie?
Yes, sir.
Hi, how are you? It's Tom Trento. Good to have you with us. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Fort Lauderdale.
Hello, from Fort Lauderdale. How can we help you, Leslie?
Yeah, well, what I was going to say, what about Mitt Romney in 1994, where he was for abortion and gay rights, lesbian and everything? Now it's changed. It's a complete flip-flop. So what's the difference? Mitt Romney changed every time when something is good for him. Okay, regarding deliverance, to me, as a Christian, I do not support everything Obama did. But I believe this guy has nothing for Obama than hatred and jealousy. Okay?
Let me ask you this, Leslie. What can you point to for President Obama that you say, this is a wonderful American, a Christian man, you're a Christian, and he has done X and it's wonderful. What is it? What would you point to?
I would say the financial crisis that now we back America back on track, and also the health care law that he passed, and so many other things that he has done. So now the market is recovery, the housing market is recovery, banks starting making money from refinancing, making new loans. So we're in the right track.
Oh, hey, the world's beautiful. Now, what has convinced you that we're back on track economically? I'm trying to understand your thinking. What indicator, what metric says, boom, here we are. We're moving in the right direction now?
Well, the customer sentiment, people start spending again. And as I said, so job market is recovery. Every month we add jobs. We add jobs every month. It's not like the way we want to.
Leslie, are you working?
Over 100,000 months. We're not losing any more jobs.
Leslie, are you working?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do?
I drive.
You drive what?
I drive for Broward County.
You drive across country. So you've been gainfully employed
recently?
He said
he drives for Broward County? Or?
Broward County. Yeah, I'm just
he has a government job.
Okay, so you were employed by the government?
No, it's a private contract for a provider.
Okay, and you've been steadily being employed in the last 5-6 months?
Yes, sir.
And you were unemployed before?
Yes, but I did. What I did, I did not stay. I did not go on appointment. I did not collect checks. I bought my butt. I went back looking for a job every day. So as Asians, we believe in hard working.
And so all the people around you are now working, is what you're saying. I'm trying to figure out what your metric is for determining that the economy is improving, because government statistics and everything else says quite contrary to what you're saying. It's we're still about 8%, 15, 20% real unemployment rate. Yet I'm trying to figure out why you are saying that the economy is improving. Is there some evidence that you have around you that you're just seeing and not looking at?
Well, let me ask the question another way, Mark. That was Mark, by the way, Leslie. We appreciate you calling, and we're here 3 to 6 every day, so feel free to call anytime. We're not going to be able to finish our whole conversation with you today, but have you're obviously a citizen. Are you going to vote? Are you a citizen?
Yes.
Okay.
And in fact, in 2004, I voted for George Bush. 2008, I voted for Obama, because I used to be Republican. I used to. Because 2008, when I see that the far-right people, the way they treat the president, and I don't like it. In 2010, the Tea Party people, they're so extreme. So it's like, I'm not saying, no. It's not like because...
I'm on the time thing here.
Yeah.
Here's... Leslie, we're in the studio, and there's 2 other folks with me, CJ and Mark and me. And Mark, I'm looking at the clock. Mark's not looking at it. We got to wind down here in a second. And but you promised me, Leslie, this is Tom Trento, that you'll call back in the future. We can continue these conversations, okay?
Yes, please.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leslie.
But Leslie, we're going to try to persuade you to come back to the light side. Leave the dark side.
We want to help you see the light.
Okay? Is it a deal?
Okay, all right.
Okay, you take care.
Nice to talk to you guys.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. You take care. That's Leslie with Tom, CJ, and Mark on a beautiful 24th of October, sunny, cloudy afternoon. You got all that stuff, right?
Yes, I do.
Give us a, you know what, let's hold it over. I only got a minute here.
Okay.
We'll hold it over to the next hour. Actually fits better in our next National Security Hour.
Okay.
But if you've been with us, folks, the first hour, now we're doing the 3. This is nice. I like this 3 to 6.
I think it's swell. It's so leisurely.
Yeah, you can relax. You can hang out. That 2 to 3 was so rushed. You know what? Let's take a little nap for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Would
you like me to go ahead and give that report then, and you can just sleep through it, Tom?
Now we're coming back to life. We're here 3 to 6 every day. TrentoVision.tv on your internet, and if you're still carrying a radio around with you, it's 1470, and our stick goes from Miami to Fort Pierce, North Miami. You can listen to us. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell everybody. We're going to deal with primarily the national security issues, because those are critical, and we believe that the economic issues are being covered by the campaign, but there isn't the expertise necessary on national security that we can bring to the table. Our next hour is going to be on the Benghazi situation. I'm just reading right now that the 2 SEALs, and former SEALs who were dispatched to Libya, they were on an agency mission, basically. I think everybody knows that, to recover the weapons that were lost by the idiocy of the Obama administration overthrowing Gaddafi. Yes, it was an idiotic move. You let a genie out of the bottle that cannot be put back. It's a genie of death. It's called Al-Qaeda, and it's called much more than that. It's the Sharia jihadis, basically. Our next hour, we're going to take a little break, hear a little bit of the news, and our next hour, we're going to deal with Benghazi, and we will have Dr. Andy Bostom with us. So stay tuned. We'll see you in about a few minutes after the hour. Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to TrentoVision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Your host, Tom Trento, is an activist street fighter with earned degrees in law enforcement, theology, and philosophy. To reach Tom, call 561-319-5533, 561-319-5533, or email him at tom@trentovision.com. Tune in again weekdays at 2 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Men, if you have erectile dysfunction, it can rob you of your sex life, destroy your confidence, and dampen your lust for life. At Boston Medical Group, we've been successful in helping men like you for over 15 years. Here's what our patients are saying.
My life is back, and so am I. Thanks a million.
Boston Medical Group is truly a lifesaver.
You have changed my life dramatically for the better.
Using only FDA-approved medications, Boston Medical Group's treatment is individually formulated to treat your specific condition. It's effective in 98% of men, regardless of what has caused your ED, and you'll see results in just one visit. Live again. Call Boston Medical Group. Schedule your consultation now and get a free guide to overcoming ED and a $250 gift certificate for our treatment program. 800-329-3400. One 5-minute call could change your life. That's 800-329-3400. 800-329-3400. Boston Medical Group, the world's #1 choice in men's sexual health.
What if you got rewarded for every good decision? What if your heart had a special way of letting you know it appreciates your healthy choices?
I've got to get my family to eat more vegetables.
Amazing!
And instead of cooking with butter tonight, I think I'll saute our veggies with heart healthy oil.
You're a genius! So really, would your food choices pay off in heart health? Did you know that when you replace bad fats with healthier fats, like those in canola or other vegetable oils, it can lower bad cholesterol levels, and that's good for your heart. Here's a winning idea. Take up the challenge for good health, because the you of the future will say,
Fantastic!
Learn more at heart.org/facethefacts. Canola Info proudly supports the American Heart Association's Face the Facts campaign.
My name is Sue Smith. I'm 38 years old, and I work at a graphic design company, which is funny, because I couldn't even draw a stick figure when I was a kid. But I met someone who told me, you know what, you can do anything if you really want to. And if the teenage me were here, she'd tell you,
I wouldn't be into drawing and art if it wasn't for big brothers, big sisters. Most kids from my neighborhood don't get into art. They get into trouble. But I was lucky because my big sister showed me early on that I didn't have to be like most people. And to the young me,
that meant a lot. My big sister's name is Sheila, and Sheila is the reason that this 8-year-old grows up to have an amazing job as a graphic designer.
Whether you donate money or time, you're helping Big Brothers Big Sisters help a child, and that can last a lifetime. Start something today at BigBrothersBigSisters.org. Brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters and the Ad Council.
This is Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WWNN Pompano Beach, and WKIX HD3, Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
The attack on the U.S. consulate in Libya. Correspondent David Melendi has more.
Here in Washington, the State Department has had no comment yet, but the Tunisian government confirms it has arrested a 28-year-old Tunisian reportedly linked to the U.S. consulate attack in Benghazi, Libya. A spokesman for Tunisia's Interior Ministry says Ali Harzi is in custody in Tunis, saying his case is in the hands of justice. He did not elaborate. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta said earlier this month that the U.S. has been looking into the arrests of 2 Tunisian men being detained in Turkey, reportedly in connection with attacks on a consulate in Libya last month. David Melendi, Washington.
Meanwhile, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton says the administration is working hard to understand exactly what transpired in Benghazi.
The Independent Accountability Review Board is already hard at work, looking at everything, not cherry-picking, one story here or one document there.
The Obama administration is playing down word of an email that was sent to the State Department just 2 hours after the attack, saying an Islamist militant group had claimed responsibility. A Colorado teenager has been arrested in the death of 10-year-old Jessica Ridgway, who disappeared October 5th on her way to school in a Denver suburb. Westminster Police Chief Lee Burke says he hopes the arrest helps Jessica's family.
We notified the Ridgway family this morning of this arrest, and we hope and pray that this arrest gives them some measure of closure in dealing with this horrible tragedy and loss that they have suffered.
Police say 17-year-old Austin Sigg is also being charged with the attack and attempted abduction of a 22-year-old at another park. Sigg's mother told the Associated Press her son turned himself in. The 2012 World Series starts tonight at AT&T Park with the National League champion San Francisco Giants hosting the American League champion Detroit Tigers. Your first stop for breaking news. This is America's Radio News.
Did you know that snoring might be evidence of a disease process that could reduce lifespans by as much as 20%? Did you also know that a weak or receding jawline is not necessarily a genetic trait, but rather evidence of a disease process that is not only detrimental to appearance, but overall health? This same weak or receding jawline often produces sleep apnea, snoring, and other health effects that can reduce lifespans by up to 20%. Well, there is good news. There's now a rare, non-invasive procedure where a strong jawline can be reclaimed and a whole series of health benefits along with it. To learn more about this amazing restoration process, go to fixjaws.com and watch a 5-minute video that can change your appearance and your life. That's fixjaws.com or call 1-855-FIX-JAWS. That's 1-855-FIX-JAWS. Call now.
Donald Trump is once again issuing a challenge to President Barack Obama. It came today in the form of a YouTube video.
If Barack Obama opens up and gives his college records and applications, and if he gives his passport applications and records, I will give to a charity of his choice, Inner City Children in Chicago, American Cancer Society, AIDS Research, anything he wants, a check immediately for $5 million.
The shooting this morning in the Georgia megachurch left a church volunteer dead as he was leading a prayer. AP correspondent Jeff Martin reports.
There was a service scheduled to start a few minutes after the shooting. The police tell us that they're not sure whether that service had started or whether it was about to start, and we're not sure how many people were inside.
Police say the suspect, 52-year-old Floyd Palmer, is a former church employee. They're still searching for him. Indiana Republican Senate candidate Richard Murdoch has found himself at the center of a controversy after he said that when a woman becomes pregnant during a rape, that's something God intended. Murdoch says he regrets that the way he worded his comment left the impression that he condones sexual violence, when his point was that all human life is precious.
If they came away with any impression other than that, I truly regret it. I apologize that they came away, and I have certainly been humbled by the fact that so many people think that that somehow was an interpretation.
Presidential candidate Mitt Romney and other Republicans have distanced themselves from Murdoch's stance, but Romney's campaign still endorses his candidacy. The Taliban's reclusive leader says insurgents will increase the number of insider attacks against coalition and Afghan forces, which have resulted in the deaths of at least 52 coalition troops so far, saying it's the most successful strategy to date. Jamaica is being pounded with heavy rain from Hurricane Sandy. It's bringing a powerful storm surge as it heads for landfall near the country's most populous city. Journalism without agenda. This is America's Radio News.
Hi, I'm Duke Liberatore.
And I'm Dr. Jan McBaron.
We're a husband and wife team.
And together we host the #1 health talk show in the nation,
Duke and the Doctor.
You can hear our show weekday mornings at 10 here on WWNN AM 1470 Health and Wealth Radio.
We'll discuss up-to-date health news, give away gifts, share in a laugh or two, and answer health questions from our callers.
So if you are ready to start feeling happy, healthy, and terrific, then tune in to Duke and the Doctor.
Weekday mornings at 10 on WWNN AM 1470.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to TrentoVision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. TrentoVision is hosted by Tom Trento, an activist street fighter with earned degrees in law enforcement, theology, and philosophy. Listen and watch every weekday at 2 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and TrentoVision.com. Now, let's take a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what? I like 3 hours. What about you, CJ?
I think it's swell, Tom.
Yeah, man. Yeah, when we do the 1 hour, 2 to 3, when we did the 1 hour, way back yesterday.
Yeah.
When we did it yesterday, we're doing it for about a month and a half or so. Got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff to jam in, and we started Labor Day, September 3rd, and within a week we were in Benghazi up to our waist in fabrication and cover-up and all of that. And ironically, it's what we do. It's our area of expertise: national security, foreign policy, Islamic jihad. And boom, the whole world, as soon as we start a radio station, the whole world goes nuts. And we got one little tiny measly hour. Well, now we have 3 each day, drive time. Good to be here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a little bit after 5 o'clock on the East Coast, our final hour, and it's flying by quickly. But we're having a wonderful time. We have a couple of cool guests with us. The past couple of hours, we dealt with Donald Trump and his new announcement. And by the way, we're on WNN. If you're driving in your automobiles right now, or if you're kind of in your house and you still deal with radios, or if you got that little iHeart thing going on, WNN 1470 Boca Raton, where we broadcast out of. And then for your viewing pleasure, we're simulcasting an internet feed. We do a lot of live streaming. We do virtually everywhere we speak. I do a lot of speaking engagements all over the place, and we stream those. And we do investigative streaming, believe it or not. We'll go undercover and videotape, maybe sometimes stream, whatever it takes to take down the bad guys. That's what we do. But right now, we're trying to defeat the President of the United States of America in his re-election bid. We make no bones about that. We're unapologetic at our constitutional stand on principles that actually believe and are in awe of the exceptionalism. That's not a negative term. The exceptionalism of the United States over the past 236 years. Go looking around the United States, look for cemeteries where the French Army or the British Army or the Italian Army or the Japanese Army or any European country army. Go see where they're buried in the United States of America, where these folks had to come here and save us from communism or Nazism or whatever ism it was, where there's any cemetery of any extent. But go to Europe and go to Normandy and look at the 10,000 gravestones and Stars of David and all of this stuff that's over there. This country has always given its best for the sake of others. And for our president on June 4th, 2009, to go to Cairo, Egypt, the seat of Islamic hatred, as articulated at the University of Al-Azhar, the seat of the Muslim Brotherhood, to go there and apologize for us being exceptional was near treasonous in the minds of the folks that we work with on national security issues. People that have given 30 years of their life in combat defending this country. Right now, from a military point of view, it's running something like 75-25. 75% of all military personnel enlisted in the military are voting for Romney. 25% are voting for President Obama. Now, you go figure out the 25%. They're usually not combat troops also. They're usually more staff-oriented. But anybody that's been in the field and had to follow these ROE, these rules of engagement, know that this administration has duct-taped together the hands of our warriors in 2 theaters so far. And we lost in Iraq, and we lost in Afghanistan. We lost. Why do you say that, Tom Trento?
Yes.
Well,
why do you say that?
Part of what we do is not think about the world as we would like to see it. We think and analyze the world as our enemy understands it. How does the enemy understand the military doctrine and the public policy of this administration? How do they view it? How do the jihadis view it? How does the Hanaki network in Pakistan? How does Al-Shabaab, the Somali jihadis, how do they view what's going on? It's not that difficult. We have folks that can read these languages, and the intelligence community does, and all of that, and materials put together, and bottom line, we lost. We lost in Afghanistan. When you say we're leaving on this date, it's over. All the bad guys have to do is just hang out for a little while and then do some green-on-blue killing, and that's what's been happening also. So what we do is national security issues. This hour we're going to focus on what's becoming the jumping-off point, or the symbolic catalyst, symbolic element of understanding the failure, the meltdown of the Obama administration on foreign policy, and the term is Benghazi. We want everybody for this next hour to burn this word in your mind. We're going to explain what it is. We're going to look at it in detail. We're going to explain why this administration has failed and lied, and we're going to tell you what needs to be done from here to resolve the situation. That's what we're doing today for the rest of the hour, guys.
All right.
Guys.
And more days to come, because we couldn't even possibly begin to cover it in just 1 hour.
No, it'll be sort of a primer, an introduction to the situation. Now, the beauty of this is it's a very organic, quickly moving, developing story, because with the wonder of the internet and the fact that there are people in the administration that are good guys that want to get information out, information is leaking out now. So every day there's a new wrinkle, a new twist, a new turn. Just yesterday, CBS News got a hold of this little document right here. Nobody's monitoring this. Can I see what that looks like? CBS News got a hold of this, and what is this? This is 121 pages of cables, internet, emails basically, between the consulate and the embassy in Tripoli. The embassy was in Tripoli, the capital of Libya. The consulate was in Benghazi, the second major city, seaport city. And the ambassador, Chris Stevens, was not in Tripoli. It was a little too dangerous on 9/11. He was in the consulate, which is a fancy term for a baby embassy, where you do a lot of work of diplomatic services, passport work, all of that. There's one embassy typically in a country, but there's many consulates all over the place.
Right.
So this document here details the fact empirically, though if we brought this to Delray Beach yesterday and showed this to the folks there and said, President Obama, folks, knew just a couple of hours after the attack that it was indeed a terrorist attack, because he was notified. The cables went into the Situation Room at 4:05 in the afternoon, and at 5 o'clock in the Oval Office, the President had a meeting with Vice President Biden. Now, do you think if your embassy in Libya, country you just liberated, and your consulate in Libya is under attack, that you would be notified with your vice president at 5 o'clock while the attack is going on? Or do you think you wouldn't be notified? How in the world can you people vote for this team? They say they knew nothing about this. These documents are probably sufficient to impeach both of them. Can't do it in 13 days. But we're going to get into the story.
I
understand what you just said. These are impeachable offenses because this is a direct lie, and these documents prove beyond a shadow of a doubt official documents from communiques to the White House. I mean, it's irrefutable.
And these are high crimes. These are not misdemeanors.
Right.
These are high crimes. This is actual treason right in here. And besides the cables, there's also extensive documentation going back over, and the cables go back over a year before the September 11th terrorist attack.
Documenting what?
Documenting the desperate pleas for more security, and documenting over a year's worth of security breaches, lapses, going on all over Libya, not just for the United States, but for Italy, for France, for the United Nations, all over Libya, actual crimes, bombings, carjackings, kidnappings, a whole chronicle. There's like 20 pages chronicling crimes against Westerners and Western installations and outposts in Libya for over a year,
and here's the
during
key.
which time our State Department and our White House denied Americans working for our country in Libya any enhanced security.
And here's the key fact on this. Not only was security...
Hang on.
Well,
that's Mark speaking. You have the floating voice, but they think it's my voice for some reason. That's Mark. When you speak, tell them
right.
hey, this is Mark now.
This is Mark now.
They can't see you.
This is Mark now.
Okay.
Oh, this is Mark now.
There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's a good radio sound.
The key to this whole report is not only was extra security not provided, but the security that was there was cut in half. And therefore,
it was actually more than in half.
Well,
yeah,
over half.
Yeah.
And these people were basically going out into these war-torn jihadist areas with absolutely no protection. And
this is aggravating.
I mean,
right.
I'm speechless. I'm really speechless.
Hey, Bob, we need 6 hours a day.
It's like walking through a gang-ridden zone in Los Angeles somewhere, where you've got several gangs operating at the same time with automatic weapons, and let's just take a stroll through the streets with no protection, by ourselves, no pocket knives, no guns, no nothing.
$100 bills hanging out of our pockets.
Exactly. And then be surprised when we get shot down.
Yeah.
Now, let me put this into perspective. In 2008, the current president ran as a candidate for the office.
Correct.
And before that, in his one term, as a junior senator from Illinois, he was opposed to both wars. He was against them. And then Iraq and Afghanistan. They started in 2003. And then in 2008, as he started campaigning, he saw that America wanted retribution for 9/11,
right,
and that things weren't going too well in 2007 when he started campaigning, late 6 actually, in Iraq. So he was against the Iraq war. This guy is such a phony, it isn't funny.
Right.
He was against the Iraq war, but he was for the good war, which was Afghanistan. So I still don't understand how he got elected, but he got elected, and he put an end to Iraq. He actually didn't put an end to Iraq. That was a timetable that was set. He expedited the timetable a little bit and failed in the negotiations to leave a sufficient force
a presence,
there. 30,000 people at $1 billion embassy that we built. The whole idea was for national security for America. He blew that. So it's become a satellite of Iran, Iraq.
Yes.
So that's failure number one. Then he went into, then he got us out of, or is getting us out of Afghanistan. So this president only took us supposedly, theoretically, out of wars, out of countries where there was a war. He never went into a country and initiated warfare. Well, he did in Libya.
Well, he did, yes.
Libya was the first place where he prosecuted a war.
A coup.
Not approved by the U.S. Congress. But he went in and worked with the UN and NATO and these other, non-American affiliated organizations, primarily, and he provided air cover. What was he doing? Every one of the experts I work with on Team B2 are going, is this guy nuts?
Explain what Team B2, Tom, is.
Team B2, once again, we're almost at the bottom of the hour. Tom Trento, TrentoVision, WNN 1470. We have an expanded show, ladies and gentlemen, 3 hours now, 3 to 6 from our 2-hour slot. Thanks for being with us. For those of you just tuning in as you're driving home, we're an organization that deals with national security issues, but specifically we're educating voters in South Florida and all of Florida in the United States to vote intelligently on November 6th on these issues. National security, don't vote for this existing president. Vote him out. We're explaining why. I'm an author, one of the authors of a book that deals with these issues, And the group of authors are referred to as Team B2. Team B2. So when you hear me say Team B2, I'm talking about myself and 18 colleagues, most of whom spent a lifetime in the U.S. military and the CIA and the FBI.
People such as Lieutenant General Jerry Blinken, CIA,
saying all their names.
James Woolsey.
They're all.
Need to hold up the book.
They're all James Bond people. Okay.
Yeah.
All of them.
They're serious people.
The CIA, FBI.
And we're emailing every day. And when this thing was going down in February of 2011, this thing being an effort by McCain and President Obama, and I'm a Republican, and John McCain completely dropped the ball on this thing. The presupposition on the part of the administration was that that Gaddafi was an evil dictator who simply was standing in the way of a new America. You know, if Gaddafi got out of the way, then the 6 million citizens in Libya who have tremendous oil supplies would all go out and buy iPads, iPhones, would all go to college, learn English, and better, and you could have a little America, a great sort of republic, democratic organization, country in Libya. Because the only thing standing in the way was this evil ruler. Well, the fact of the matter is that's not who the people are. There's the majority are Sharia-compliant Muslims on the Sunni side who want an Islamic caliphate and want Sharia law instilled worldwide and understand jihad to be a holy war and hate Israel and hate the United States of America. Gaddafi, who was no threat to the United States at this point, he had been neutered, was like the warden of a prison containing the prisoners who all wanted to break out. Well, they've broken out. And the United States is going to see what happens. Now, how could that be right that myself and others did not want to get rid of Gaddafi? Because we understood the lethality of what would follow him, particularly if there was no mechanism in place to bring Western power to defeat the various tribes. Libya is a tribal country, and there's so many tribes that hate each other. If you just let all of that stuff go, the ones with the guns are going to win. The ones with the guns are the jihadis. They're now shooting down planes in Syria through this Iran-Contra gate situation of the arms of Gaddafi finding their way through Syria, most probably through the direction of Ambassador Chris Stevens in many respects.
And the government of Turkey.
Now, this sounds like a spy thriller. Well, it is. This is exactly what's going on. So, in any event.
Well, and also, Tom, I just want to bring in the point that the Team B2, you, and all of them have been, prognosticators of all this before it happened, 6-8 months in advance. You predicted the fall of Egypt and the rise of Muslim Brotherhood there, the ascension of power, how this wasn't a student revolt. The Libyan thing, you far out in the head of the track on this one. The whole Iran thing, we are so far ahead on these issues.
Mark, February of 2011, we did a video about the Muslim Brotherhood taking over Egypt. This is when it first occurred.
Right.
And that eventually they would succeed in controlling the country, and then create a situation where they became the enemy of Israel. It was all part of the plan.
Oh, you're crazy! You're out there. You're wacko. You're everything.
Go check the tape. We made the video. It's online, and
that's what people were saying at the time. All the time. Everything we've been saying.
That was February of 2011. 2 days ago, Mohammed Morsi, the president of Egypt, knelt down, and as the imam was praying and calling for the destruction of Israel, he at mosque services, the president of Egypt shouted a big Allahu Akbar, Amen, basically.
Yeah.
That was 2 days ago, and he also wants the blind sheikh to be released, he being Mohammed Morsi, the president of Egypt, who is a Muslim brother, who, by the way, guess where he was educated?
Egypt?
How about the United States?
The president of Egypt. Now, for all of you trying to make up your mind as to who you're going to be voting for, in 13 days. This is why we're doing the show. Our president has coddled up to and is working with and providing money and providing intelligence, information, all of this, with the Muslim Brotherhood leadership in Egypt. Mohammed Morsi was educated at the University of Southern California in 1978-82, did a degree in mechanical engineering, and became a Muslim brother probably in Egypt, maybe advanced it a bit with the MSA, Muslim Student Association at USC, but he went back
which
to
is a spin-off group of the Muslim Brotherhood.
And nothing to do with the Islamic Center of Southern California, which is the direct descendant of
Hassan al-Banna. Goes on and on and on. The Brotherhood is who we typically fight, but this administration has joined with the Brotherhood, the Muslim Brotherhood, so we see this, like Michelle Bachmann, who sits on the Standing Intelligence Committee in Congress. One of her jobs is to investigate. Do we have Andy with us?
Yes.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yeah.
To investigate any sort of infiltration of enemies into the administration. She called for the investigation of the Brotherhood into the administration, and she was castigated by every mainstream media in the world. But it's turning out that she was actually right, and the brothers are deeply entrenched.
She was shot down by many of her fellow members in the House as well as the Senate. I mean, it was absolute, and that crossed party. That was a bipartisan effort, actually, to go after Michelle Bachmann, who was trying to tell the truth about the Muslim Brotherhood infiltration of this administration.
Yep. All right, anyway, bottom of the hour, we have our special guest with us, a good friend of ours, Dr. Andy Bostom, up there in Rhode Island. Andy, how are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good. We miss you. You've been in the studio here before, but today...
Coming down again soon.
All right.
Awesome. Give us your schedule.
When are you coming down?
I want to help out with the campaign for Congressman West, for Congressman Hasner, and for the presidential campaign.
Okay.
Fantastic.
We'll bring you in the studio for sure.
My state is hopeless, but there's some hope for your state.
Yes, there is. We're going to win here. I mean, we have seen it. We have a scientific machine that can analyze the situation for us. It's called. How many people standing on the corner waving an Obama sign versus a Romney sign? And you know what? I mean, we're just starting to see some Obama signs come out, Andy, but it's tremendous excitement for Romney. And the Obama folks, notwithstanding yesterday's scary rally, they're not feeling as well as they were in 2008.
Those Obama signs only came out in time for everybody to come down for the debate.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was it. They came up the day before the debate. So everybody getting into town would think that there was actual Obama support in South Florida, which actually is not the case.
CJ's talking about the presidential debate 2 days ago at Lynn University. But Andy, help us and the audience. We have a pretty wide listening audience on WNN 1470. You know the geography, North Miami to Fort Pierce, east and west. And we have our internet side. Help the folks. You're an expert on these issues. You've written extensively on the jihad, on anti-Semitism. Help everybody understand Benghazi. Can you do that?
Well, I mean, even the roots of the word tell you something. It's son of Ghazis. Ghazis are holy warriors. So it's not surprising that it might have a concentration of jihadists around it. And if we reach out a little more broadly geographically, the city of Derna, where our ambassador, now deceased, spent a lot of time before he assumed his current senior position, has long been an extraordinary hub of jihadism, dating all the way back to the Barbary Wars, actually. That's where William Eaton, a very brave soldier and leader during the Barbary Wars, confronted a group of jihadists. And then, tragically, in our recent past, Derna per capita sent more jihadists, particularly suicide bombers, homicide bombers, that attacked our troops in Iraq than any other geographical location on Earth.
Oh my
And,
God.
and if you even go back to the Marine Corps song, I mean, the shores of Tripoli. I mean,
Right, well, I was just saying, Derna, Libya was even a more precise hotbed of jihadism during the Barbary Wars. I think that what we're seeing, to a certain extent, which is why I'm a little bit uncomfortable about the hagiography of the late ambassador, is we're seeing that he became the victim of some of the policies that he's promoted. There's two very disturbing classified memos that were part of the WikiLeaks dump that Diana West alerted me to, and I read them very carefully, and they're actually quite chilling, because in 2008 you begin to see how this idea might have been concocted that the jihadists in the Derna region could be turned against, well, they already were against Gaddafi, but could be used by us against Gaddafi. And Stevens is cavorting with literally with families whose sons had killed and maimed our troops in Iraq. And it's actually chilling to read these memos. He calls one of them Die Hard in Derna, where he repeats how these people characterize themselves as being the diehards from the Bruce Willis movie. So it's a form of glorification, and he repeats it without any qualification. They're very, very disturbing memos to read. He seems to have this romanticized notion of these people, which I would say, given the given their aggressive jihadism against the United States, borders on treason. It's very disturbing to read this. So at any rate, I'm not one to get into this hand wringing and mourning about his loss, quite frankly. But at any rate, I think the policy is part of a larger failure of imagination to realize that, as odious as some of these tyrants are, and Gaddafi being one of the more odious, bizarre, odious, American blood on his hands, he was chastened. If we were going to take him out, he should have been taken out a long time ago, as Reagan attempted to do and got half his family or something. But that was a long time ago, and he was chastened, particularly after we invaded Iraq initially in 2003. And opened up his nuclear program, what there was of it, and again, because he was beset by the same jihadists that were attacking us in Iraq, he was cooperative on that front as well. So this idea that now he was a terrible tyrant, he had American blood in his hand, and we decided to remove him to promote democracy in Libya. I mean, it just doesn't fly with the facts on the ground, and I think it's consistent in a way with pushing Mubarak out the door. Now Mubarak was a tyrant to his own people, but he was keeping the lid on the enormous jihadist movement in Egypt, which was dangerous to the Egyptian population, particularly to the minorities and women. And he was slowly trying to introduce some reforms which wouldn't facilitate, the jihadists are outstanding at using law to promote their own causes. He was slowly trying to introduce reforms which would modernize Egypt. Now, you can argue with the pace and with the brutality with which he dealt with the opposition, the jihadist opposition, but the fact is the situation for religious minorities and women in particular was better in Egypt than I'm sure it's going to be now, as we're seeing signs as we have Egypt turned into a Muslim Brotherhood state.
Right.
And again, we facilitated his removal without a sort of secular leaning succession. And I think this is another tragic failure in our policy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you got questions?
I do. Yeah.
I want to try to focus on that. That was a good a sort of global look at that whole Northern Africa section. I want to focus on the implications of Benghazi. But what is your question, Susan?
Well, my question relates to this whole Arab Spring notion that the administration was infatuated with. Was there any evidence, Andy, that in any of these countries, either in Libya, Tunisia, Egypt, anything happening in Morocco or Yemen, that would indicate that these countries actually had a popular groundswell movement for democracy, for real democracy? I mean, because the administration is trying to say that they're promoting democracy in these areas where it didn't exist before, but really, did it exist there? Is there any cultural connection to democracy? Is there any indication that there was an infrastructure for it so that we should go in and support this?
The cultural connection in the entire region is what was bequeathed to them by the British and/or French, and those institutions, those inchoate institutions that were put in place during the colonial period, have been whittled away or removed altogether. So what you have, certainly amongst the masses, is a very strong popular sentiment for the Sharia. The polling data that really struck me were data that at least included two North African countries from late 2006, early 2007. So Morocco and Egypt. And Morocco at the time, of course, under a more benevolent despot arrangement, was considered a more progressive country. And two findings just are very striking. There were 1,000 face-to-face interviews in Egypt and Morocco as part of this survey. And two questions jumped out. They were very specific. They asked the interviewees about, and the word was strict. Did they want to see strict application of the Sharia? And a related question was about the caliphate, literally about the creation, the recreation of the caliphate. And 3/4 of, well, I'll give you the exact numbers. 71% of the Moroccans and 67% of the Egyptians wanted to unify all Islamic countries into a single Islamic state or caliphate. Those were the exact words. And then 76% of Moroccan Muslims and 74% of Egyptian Muslims wanted to, quote, require a strict, and the word was strict, application of Sharia law in every Islamic country.
So this is not some warm, fuzzy Sharia where, I just want to find where we're talking about.
No, that's why the question was very appropriate and intelligent. It used the word strict, which now, of course, gets into the hard punishments. The
apostasy punishments.
The killing apostates, mutilating punishments for theft, stoning adulterers. These are brutal. Lashing for alcoholism. So these are very, very draconian punishments that violate basic freedoms and the dignity of the individual. And so this is not a tiny fringe. I mean, you're talking about basically 70% plus on all these on these two fundamental questions. There weren't data available for Libya, specifically, but it is the same milieu.
Right.
And looking at how as soon as this transitional government came into being after Gaddafi was removed and killed, immediately it becomes a Sharia-based constitution. The jihadist groups in Benghazi had massive demonstrations. There's an outstanding report that was actually put together by the Pentagon and released in August, right before, a few weeks before the attacks, in the attack in Benghazi, and it was called Al-Qaeda in Libya, a Profile. It's put together by something called the Combating Terrorism Technical Support Office, which is a Pentagon program, it's just stunning to see the extent of all these Al-Qaeda-related affiliated groups, and the report makes clear that there's a tremendous amount of orchestration going on from Al-Qaeda senior leadership with these various this whole alphabet soup of groups, and they're interlocking groups. It's hard to tell. You can be a member of more than one group at once, it seems. The breadth and strength of these groups was just stunning. I was not aware of it till I read this report, and of course they provide the backbone for the whole. Yeah.
Why is the Obama administration apparently linking up with these groups and supporting them both financially, like the Muslim Brotherhood, the billions of dollars are sending over to them? What is the rationale behind this? Well, I mean, they're obviously Can you explain that?
It's very hard. It's very hard to conceive of rationally. It really is, I have to say, because they buy into this. The administration and certainly the president himself seems to buy into this third world narrative, of us being so guilt-ridden, and if only we would make amends, we would be liked again. Now, people can say, well, that's crazy, but he appears to really believe this. And then, there are all kinds of suspicions about whether he has a real an affinity for this kind of governance. I mean, to me, that's the more frightening prospect. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the explanation is for it. We can only look at the phenomenon, and it seems to be repeated throughout the region. And then they always put this gloss on it. That it's democratic. Well, in a sense it is. I mean, it is what the masses want, but you have to separate that from what's the appropriate geostrategic policy for U.S. and Western interests, and frankly, in the end, for the people themselves. I mean, I'm sorry, as bad as these despots have been, when you see what happens with unbridled Sharia. The people of this region are better off under despots.
Voting for fascism doesn't give you democracy.
The basic concept is different. You see, this is the other thing that people don't understand. The very word for freedom in Arabic and in Islamic thinking, Sharia, means perfect slavery to Allah and His Sharia.
That's the concept of freedom for them.
Yeah, this concept is antithetical to the notion of Western individual liberty. It's just not the same thing.
I have a question about this Pentagon report going back in August. Wouldn't such a report actually be perhaps a summary of a report like this? Al-Qaeda resurgent in Libya be part of the President's daily intelligence briefing?
No, I'm just saying that this is all open source information.
Exactly. But wouldn't he be informed on this?
Heavens only knows what they had in terms of more specific, classified information. This was all based on open source information.
So there's no chance, there's absolutely no chance that the people who work on this at the White House could not be informed
on what's going on
inside Libya, that Al-Qaeda is resurgent in Libya. There's absolutely no way that they could not know that this is going on.
I don't know what they actually,
I mean, it's really
hard. I don't know if they actually read, and I mean, it's funny, but it's not funny.
No, it's tragic.
They
Why would you skip your daily briefing report?
And they read their little 2-line brief, and the president, if we're lucky, apparently looks at these things on his BlackBerry, and doesn't go to
in between
the meeting.
All right.
I don't know what they actually know, and frankly, this kind of a report is for our entire Congress and Senate as well. Why the heck didn't they know anything about this?
I don't know.
Not, you can't just yes, the Obama administration is quite inept and dangerously ideological, but they're just one branch of government.
Well,
where's the Senate and the Congress?
Well, there's only two options. There's only two options here. It's either complete incompetence or some type of collusion. It's one or the other.
I think it's a
How about willful ignorance?
I think it's ignorance, and let's not let certain prominent people off the hook here either. I mean, I get livid when I see Lindsey Graham and John McCain.
So do we.
Self-righteously, launching off the Jeremiahs against the Obama administration. They are as responsible for this policy as anyone else.
Andy, this is Tom, and I don't know if you know, we were at the debate the other day at Lynn University.
Yeah.
And Mark and who else?
Alan.
Mark and Alan went up, and
CJ and Ruth
went up to Lindsey Graham. Now listen to Mark's account of interviewing Lindsey Graham.
Actually, CJ explained it better.
No. Actually, we have a video of it that we're putting together. Yeah, that we're putting together, and we want to.
Sounds tantalizing.
Right.
Well, go ahead, explain it, CJ. Go ahead.
Well, actually, Alan asked Lindsey Graham if he was familiar with the Islamic threat doctrine and why that superseded any of the opinions that he might have had about what's going on in this area. And Lindsey Graham looked at him and said, "I'm not familiar with that."
The Islamic threat doctrine.
Okay. But did you have an opportunity to try and educate him?
No. Then he just ran away. It's like he didn't want anything. The
anything that didn't fit within the narrative of what he had laid out in 30 seconds, he was not going to address.
No, he wanted to just run away from the question, run away quickly as possible. Because we're talking about Muslim Brotherhood issues, and he did not want to hear it.
Yeah, because he was cozy with getting it set up in Egypt with John McCain.
Now Lindsey Graham is a Republican who sits on the what council? The Security Council. I forget which one. What National Security Advisory Council or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing that a senior senator of his status had absolutely zero clue about the Islamic threat doctrine.
Right.
Well, they don't. They don't want to. They don't want to. They're afraid, as so many in the political class are, that the question in and of itself is going to lead them into what could be a frank discussion of Islam and the need to potentially criticize it, or even just participate in a discussion where it's criticized. I mean, that's how bad things have gotten.
Yeah.
In other words, he would likely, if he had stayed there and you had explained to him whatever, the doctrine of jihad, whatever you wanted to get into that related specifically to Islam, he would have been afraid to have it on tape that he was there,
Right.
Let alone if he commented and said
he was in the room when it was being discussed. That would be bad enough.
It's just so awful, and of course that cowardice is compounded by the fact that he probably, in reality, knows nothing about it. Anyway, he just knows that it's verboten. That's it. That's what they know. What they know is that the discussion of the ideology that's driving this unrest, or data like I presented to you, where roughly 70%, not a tiny fringe, 70% want strict application of the Sharia and the recreation of a caliphate.
Right.
If you even knew what that was. It doesn't matter anymore. It's verboten to discuss these things, period, because even if you discuss them, or even if you quote Muslim jurists or politicians, expressing and elucidating this ideology, you're ipso facto an Islamophobe. I mean, this is how frighteningly bad things have gotten.
Well, not only that, but then they would be required to actually act on the information in a responsible way that would protect our national security interests, which they're also not interested in.
Or we wouldn't have Little Rock classified as a drive-by shooting, and
Fort Hood wouldn't be workplace violence.
Yeah. We couldn't have those things mislabeled at all.
Well, but it's more cynical than that, because they'll pop their heads up and try and stump their chest that even that language shouldn't be applied to Fort Hood.
Right.
They won't. they'll come up with you know, the most extreme, most radical ever in the history of human history extremists attacked our troops. You know, that's and it had some, and he came from a certain very, 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 very extreme interpretation of Islam.
You said the I word.
Yeah, you know, it's a twisting of Islam, and a very, very, very extreme twisting of Islam.
Right, right.
We're living in a very, very frightening age because our language, our clear language is being taken away from us.
Right.
In your opinion, 4 more years of our current president, is that going to somehow solve this issue, or will it make it worse, drastically worse, or off the scales worse?
I'm very. First of all, I have to tell you, since I'm a rational person who looks at data. I think Mr. Obama's goose is cooked. I don't see how he possibly wins this election. But you know, if he did, if by some strange twisting, turning of events, he should. I think it could be gravely dangerous, and I pray it doesn't happen.
Okay, on that wonderful note, we will have to have you back. And when you come in, Andy, give CJ a call. Let her know you're scheduled, you know, as soon as you can.
Yes.
We'll get you in here for we're 3 hours now. We'll get you in here for, you know, the whole week. Who knows? We'll do an extended show.
We can have a responsive reading of the book. That'll take the next
that would be good. Yeah, 1,000-page book.
We'll serve lunch.
Well, you have a new book. Why don't you promote your new book? Tell about your former book.
Apropos, it's called Sharia versus Freedom, and then the subtitle is The Legacy of Islamic Totalitarianism.
And how many pages is this one?
This is only 736 pages.
Okay.
And do you have a 3-paragraph summary?
Essentially, what I've tried to do is explain what the Sharia is. Give examples of its application across space and time, show how, unfortunately, what they call in French, the treason d'éclair, the treason of the intellectuals of our time, is to completely whitewash it. And then the final section is called How Do You Solve a Problem Like Sharia? Sort of a takeoff on Rodgers and Hammerstein, where I offer some concrete approaches to how this enormous problem could be addressed.
All right, well, Andy, we got to let you go. We're running up against the end of our 3 hours on our inaugural day here. You were with us on our inaugural day. Thank you, Dr. Andy Boston.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
You take care. We'll see you, ladies and gentlemen. That's one of America's
he is
foremost,
so brilliant.
Foremost. He's a physician who does epidemiological studies and data management, and he's a world-renowned physician. He's taken those skills and applied it to the analytical research, forensic research of the jihad historically. He's written these massive deals. In any event, Tom Trento here in Boca Raton, signing off, ladies and gentlemen, for TrentoVision on WNN 1470. Thank you for being with us this first day of our 3-hour show. We'll see you tomorrow right back here, same channel, same everything. Have a wonderful evening. Time to pop a bottle of Malbec or something.
A bottle of Malbec and a cigar.
Yeah, you got it. Take care.
Cigars for everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to TrentoVision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth